and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny, I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, and my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, I'm proud to be. In whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny, I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, and my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, I'm proud to be. In whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny, I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, and my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral disorder, I'm proud to be. I'm a flying.
Hi everybody! Welcome back to Higurashi When They Murder! Even though hopefully there won't be as much murder this time around, because we're at the last fucking arc. We're trying to stop all the murder from happening. Welcome to the shenanigans. But murder, yes.
Murder! I was promised murder.
I mean, you've gotten plenty of murder so far. You've gotten all the murder several times.
But
over.
I was promised more murder.
You're the one who wants good ending.
I know, I do.
You
I
literally
very,
have it
very
in the
much
title. You have the title when they murder, and there's no gonna be murder? This is ridiculous.
When they murdered. I probably should have made it in the past tense. Hold on. When they murdered.
No, you can't change it now. It's murder.
Well, technically, there has at least been one murder so far and dismemberment in these fragments. Hey, Jade Wolf, good to see ya.
True.
I mean, yeah, I guess you're technically not wrong.
You're technically not wrong there.
Okay, so last we left off, we were beginning the connecting of the fragments, which is how we have to go through all these little bits and pieces to fill in the rest of the gaps of things that have happened and figure out how to best figure out our best
Live,
June of 1983.
aka how to live.
Yes, how to get
Yes.
everyone to live. Also, you're very quiet, Kayla, so I'm going to bring you back up. Because I know you were loud last time and I had to turn you down. So let's...
I'm not doing anything different. This is weird.
It's okay, I'll turn you up. There you go. We're hopefully not murdering. That's the thing. There's been so much fucking murder over the last 7 entire arcs that we've been playing for over a year now. Now we're trying to keep everyone from being murdered.
Now we have this expectation that we murder, and so now we're sad we're not getting any murder.
God damn.
Yeah.
Instead we
Yeah,
got Japanese
it's a hard
history
nut
and...
life.
Yeah, right?
Oh god.
Hmm.
Don't remind me of that chapter. That day of pure history class.
Yeah, that was something, alright. Okay. So now we need to
Now-
find another one of these that we can click on, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, we also have to now remember, you know, the names of stuff. Listen to
We
it.
don't have the help from the Queen Carrier, I'm
We
pretty
do
sure.
not
Yeah,
yet.
no.
Results. Research hasn't stagnated.
Maybe.
Not yet.
Has it worked?
Oh, okay.
What?
Apparently it
What?
has.
I guess it has.
Who's
That very
narrating?
night.
Oh,
Me.
go for it.
I don't know, Flay, you want to do it?
Yeah, go
I
for
just
it.
started. Okay. That very night, the head of the Furude family, the priest, gathered his wife Enrika together for a family meeting. In Hinamizawa, it was tradition for the three families to gather and discuss the village issues. So it was hardly unusual for the big families like the Sonozaku family and the Kimiyoshi family to have meetings beforehand, sort out the opinions among themselves. However, the Furude family had lost its branch families, so there were only 3 of them left. So until that day, they had never had a family meeting at all.
What is it?
Wife? Question
You're
mark?
being so formal. Is it about the dam construction?
The dam was the most important issue in the village at the moment. The wife naturally assumed the priest wanted to talk about the dam. For him to gather all of them together like that must be a huge decision he had to make. Perhaps he was going to talk about joining the pro-evacuation camp.
No, it's not about the dam. But it's about something extremely important which concerns this village, and perhaps all the ancestors of the village, too. What should Furude Dad sound like?
That's a priest guy, I guess. Japanese priest guy.
I don't know what a Japanese priest sounds like.
Yo! No, that's a good no.
Oyashiro-sama!
Oh my god.
That is his voice. Perfect. The Rudy family has served in this priesthood of Oyashiro-sama, the guardian deity of this village, for generations. So for him, the head of the family, to start out that way, it must be something extremely important.
Hydrate.
Yet, he said it wasn't about the dam. So what could he want to talk about?
Yo, I married into this family, so I want you and Rika, who carry the true blood of the Furaday family, to listen very closely. You two aren't normal human beings, yo!
I'm the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, right?
Yo, Rika, you shouldn't say such things.
I think this is
I think it's
mom.
wife. This
Yeah.
is wife.
Oh, never mind.
Rika, you shouldn't say such things. Dear, let's talk about things like that without her. She's heard enough nonsense from the elderly people at the village hall already.
Yo, what she just said about her being the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, that appears to be true.
I have no regrets. What?
Nani?
Nani?
It's rather a long story, yo. Please, just sit tight and listen to me.
What the shit?
The wife had a dumbfounded expression on her face. Her husband's voice is sounding very weird. Not knowing what he was going to say, but Rika was completely relaxed, wearing her usual carefree expression.
Oops.
He started to talk after his wife calmed down.
Yo, so there's a disease in this village which has been here for many years. It's a special disease which only exists here in this area, yo. Everyone who lives in this village has the disease. Not only the people who live here now, but all the people who ever lived here had the disease.
What? But we're all perfectly healthy. I've never heard of a disease exclusive to this village.
Yo, calm down. As long as we're here in the village, disease won't cause any problems. Once you move away from this village, yo, that's when it starts to act out. Do you understand?
We sound like a fucking hoodlum.
No, he started like more priest-like, and now
He's just like, yo, what up?
Yo! I don't know what to do.
Just to be fucking dad. I don't give a shit. Be every single other dad in the show. How can you expect me to understand such a thing? I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's the same as the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Rika said it so calmly, while her mother became frustrated.
That's right. They say that when you leave this village, you're cursed. It's just like that. In other words, the curse of Oyashiro-sama, which our ancestors have feared for generations, is actually a disease that only exists in this village.
Is he a relative of Hot Sun now?
Yeah, I guess so. How could that be possible? We've left the village before. Other villagers too. Some have gone on business trips and some even traveled to foreign countries.
True. Well, that's probably because the disease has weakened over a long time, so it was going to disappear eventually. But their business with the dam disrupted that process. Everyone knew that during the dam war, the entire village was aflame with agitation. Such excitement and emotional instability makes the disease stronger. Oh, so of course it keeps popping up in fucking teenagers.
Yeah, right?
Who are always excited and emotionally unstable.
Exactly. I still don't know what you're trying to say. What we thought was a curse all this time was actually caused by the disease?
That's right. All the rules Oyashiro-sama came up with were to protect the villagers from the disease.
No way. Then Oyashiro-sama was actually a disease, not a god? How could that be? How can I explain that to the Furaday family ancestors?
Calm down. The faith in Oyashiro-sama won't change. The fact that Oyashiro-sama is watching over Hinamizawa will remain the same. It just means the disease producing Oyashiro-sama's curse was in this village since long ago, that's all.
I won't accept that. How can I explain that to our ancestors? This is a desecration of the Furute family's age-old traditions. No, this is a desecration of Oyashiro-sama. Who told you such a thing? This isn't acceptable. In the first place, can you prove such a disease actually exists?
I can.
What kind of proof? Who gave it to you?
The people from the Ministry of Health and the National Institute of Infectious Disease Prevention. They've already found the pathogen and they are searching for a cure right now. I saw the documents and the samples last week. The people at the Ministry of Health call it Hinamizawa Syndrome.
No way.
As long as you lead a normal life, the syndrome is harmless. But once you go far from Hinamizawa, or if you become emotionally unstable, it's easy for the disease to manifest itself. When the disease acts out, you can be possessed by your own delusions, and in the worst case scenario, you can go mad. They discovered this disease during the war. A distinguished scholar noticed that only the soldiers from Hinamizawa came down with an abnormal disease, and he's been researching it all these years. They explained some details of this research, but I'm sorry, they're too complicated for me to understand. If you don't believe what I'm saying, then why don't you go listen to them yourself? At first, I was indignant too, wondering how they dared to blaspheme Oyashiro-sama and spout such nonsense. The Ivan Clinic was built to study the syndrome. It appears to be just a clinic on the outside, but it's actually a secret research center for studying the syndrome.
Secret research? That's ridiculous. If it's actually backed by the Ministry of Health, why aren't they doing it out in the open?
Well, I guess they can't. For example, think about leprosy victims who were misunderstood and exiled. They're still misunderstood and discriminated against even today, in fact. The whole country finds out about this and thinks that everyone in Hinamizawa who has contracted this weird disease can go mad at any moment. It'll turn into chaos. The Ministry of Health has taken that into consideration and is working on developing a cure while keeping the disease a secret. Don't get me wrong, though, they aren't trying to put us on display or anything. They're trying to eliminate this disease and free this village from it. It was a different story long ago when we supported ourselves, but nowadays it's impossible not to leave the village. If a simple act of leaving the village can trigger the disease, you realize how dangerous it is for the villagers, right? I'm repeating myself now, but in the recent dam protests, the whole village entered a strong, excited state, which is very bad for Hinamizawa Syndrome.
If some villagers go crazy and do something horrible, it'll be all over the media.
That's right. If that happens, it'll be too late.
But how can I believe this? Are you sure we're dealing with people from the government? Are you sure you aren't being tricked?
I don't blame you for not being able to believe it. They said we can come take a look at their facility anytime. I've seen it before, and I know that no mere fraud could set something up like that. Even the big hospitals in Gogura don't have such large-scale equipment. If you can't believe what I just told you, you should go to the research center yourself and ask questions. They can explain it better than I can. They said if their explanation isn't good enough, they can explain it to you at the National Research Institute in Tokyo, or even at the Ministry of Health's main office.
Whether I believe it or not, how are we related to that?
It is said that the Furute family inherited the blood of Oyashiro-sama. And it is also said that if a girl was born for 8 continuous generations, that 8th generation girl would be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama.
Beep.
That's right. I'm the 7th, and Rika is the 8th generation. But what does that have to do with the disease?
This Hinamizawa Syndrome is caused by a type of parasite. Although they're very tiny, you can't even see them with the naked eye. They say there's a sort of leader among these parasites.
Are you saying that's the Faraday family?
It appears that the leader of these parasites is passed down through the generations only by people with a direct bloodline to the Faraday family. In other words, in the previous generation it was you, and now it's Rika.
Beep.
Why are you smiling?
I don't
at that?
know. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Why would it be something as disgusting as parasites in the first place?
Calm down. I'm not good at explaining things. Please have the experts explain it to you. According to them, studying this parasite leader is necessary in order to research the disease.
Yes, we're now Parasite Eve Remake. This is now Parasite Eve Remake. Welcome to our playthrough. No! I won't have anything to do with such suspicious research, and Rika won't either.
I'm telling you to calm down. They think that Hinamizawa Syndrome acts out when separated from the parasite leader, not the village itself. When you were little, do you remember villagers telling you that you had psychic powers? You were able to cure elderly people who got migraines after taking a long trip. That's the proof that you were carrying the parasite leader. Yes, thank you, baby cat, for your important contributions. The Faraday bloodline has the power to cure people with the disease. To discover a cure, it's extremely important that we participate in their research.
If they study me, will the villagers be saved?
That's what they say.
I need to talk to an adult. Yep.
And all the villagers are infected? Me? Everyone else? Satoko too?
Yes. Not only the people who live in the village, but their relatives in Okonomiya too. We're talking thousands of people. That's why the Ministry of Health spent so much money to build a specialized research center.
I object! How can you let Rika be a sacrifice for something that suspicious?
I don't mind. If Satoko can be saved, I don't mind being a sacrifice. I really don't.
You be quiet, Rika! I absolutely refuse! I'll go talk to them and refuse them directly. I won't let them kill Rika in some crazy experiment! Besides, Rika is the one and only heir of the Faraday family. What if something happens to her? The Faraday family will die right there. Don't you see that? You need to think more about our family. That's why the villagers call you an opportunist. After all, don't you think it's odd? The Ministry of Construction is trying to submerge the village, and the Ministry of Health is trying to cure disease. What in the world is going on?
The Ministry of Health has warned that this disease could be triggered by a change in environment. So they're actually trying to have the Ministry of Construction stop the damn construction plan. You really should go to the research center. Why would they build such a huge facility in a location that could be submerged?
Oh, that's okay. That's Rika.
Rika let out a big yawn. It was long past bedtime for a little girl like her. I'm going to bed now. Dad, please let them know I'm willing to participate, okay?
Rika! You can't make such a decision without consulting me. Rika! Wait, Rika! Wow.
Okay. Well, I guess we've got the help from the Queen Carrier one that pops up on a shit ton of these.
That's true.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And also probably we now know why the parents died. Because they knew everything. Research center.
Yeah.
Does that one work? Ah.
I was half asleep, so I didn't even hear the phone ringing nearby. After a while, I finally realized the phone was ringing, and a ring of phone means there's some kind of an emergency. 2 in the morning. Who could even call me at a time like this?
Hello, this is Ivan.
I'm sorry to bother you, Dr. Ivan.
Creepy son. It's creepy son.
Mm-hmm.
She's never called me for a personal reason.
I feel like we've seen this one before.
Did we?
It's
Oh.
just she might
Oh, you're
just-
probably right. Shit. That's where I was blue.
Yeah.
Shit. Hold
Yeah.
on.
did.
I think I have to just go. Skip through it.
Whee!
Skip.
Oh god.
Yeah, this is the one where she's
Yeah.
trying to like get
You're
him
right.
to.
Yeah. Sin, blah blah blah, death,
blah, 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 blah,
destruction,
blah, blah,
I'm your
blah, blah.
doctor.
Yeah, we have to dissect him while he's still alive. Yada yada.
I could
Yeah,
never
okay,
do such
gotcha.
thing. My
Right, right.
morals, but my doctorness.
Ah, here we go. Okay, there's one, I think. Yeah. No?
Yeah. Oh no.
Okay. Okay.
You broke it.
It's fine.
I think we can come back to
Yeah,
them.
we can.
Yeah.
Broke.
We don't have the dissection, but we do have help from the
No.
Queen
Ah, there we go.
Carrier.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. When researching Hinamizawa Syndrome, there is something very important that needs to be discussed first. If something happens to the Queen Carrier, the village will collapse. In his article, my grandfather called it the most dangerous situation. According to my grandfather, if the Queen Carrier dies, all the infected persons will go terminal within 48 hours. This may sound unbelievable at first. There's research on the collapse of past local religions and group suicides around the world to indicate that there's some kind of truth to it. Among all the mysterious incidents around the world, there are some that were caused by parasites controlling entire communities, very similar to Hinamizawa Syndrome. Grandfather picked a few cases that were very similar to the syndrome and investigated them. As a result, he confirmed multiple cases of entire communities losing their minds after the death of a religious leader or founder, and finally annihilating themselves. He stated that, on average, it happened within 48 hours. It's clear that the infected people are affected by the Queen Carrier, and the condition of the Queen Carrier is, in fact, affecting the entire village. Our statistics already prove that on weeks Rika felt sick and visited the clinic, we saw an exceptionally high number of visitors. Rika being sick with a simple cold had a massive impact. If something particularly bad happened to her, we'll be facing a serious situation within 48 hours. That's why the Ivan Institute has to protect Rika Furude, the Queen Carrier, the most important mission of the Hinamizawa Syndrome research project.
By applying my bias to my study, I've confirmed my bias. Yep.
She's already agreed to help us in our research, but we also have to be very careful not to put her in any danger. Also, we have to protect her from anyone who would try to harm her. Her life is equal to the lives of 2,000 villagers. But what if something happens to her by accident? The Ivan Institute must prepare for that situation. That's why I worked on the drafted emergency manual when the Ivan Institute was first established. It's precaution in the case the Queen Carrier dies, or if infected people show acute symptoms due to the death of the Queen Carrier. This is an emergency procedure which must be followed within 48 hours of the mass occurrence of acute symptoms. The final measure is to prevent the damage from spreading to nearby areas. The plan uses gas, making it look like a natural disaster. My client, the Alphabet Project, took the responsibility of working out the details of the plan. They're used to dealing with things like nuclear and biological weapons, so they ended up being such a big help. There's no way I could have come up with a plan on my own to execute 2,000 villagers. Though, through a dummy company, the ground SDF has secured a close quarry in the Yaguichi region upstream of Hinamizawa. It's to be their secret storage base for the equipment we use in that operation. Equipment that sprays deadly gas that kills people as if they were falling asleep is stored here. In the case of an emergency, a special unit of the ground SDF is to use the equipment to destroy the village. However, preparing for the execution of the villagers itself is politically dangerous. So if I'm going to insist on them getting the equipment ready, I have to make them understand how dangerous Hinamizawa Syndrome is, and also how urgent the need is to have a contingency plan. I have to prove the need for the plan by showing them enough data, so the files my grandfather kept intact come quite in handy. When the clients read my grandfather's articles about the syndrome, they were surprised to see how how bad things could be in a worst case scenario. Listen, talking's hard, guys, okay?
Just a random STF person, I think?
In other words, if something happens to this girl, the Queen Carrier, all 2,000 of the villagers will become deranged. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. There have been several cases similar to Hinamizawa Syndrome where group suicides took place. In the case of the syndrome, we can easily expect extreme defensive behavior, which results from deep paranoia. The result may affect all 2,000 plus carriers. From there on, we may face abnormal situations involving lawless violence and bizarre religious despondence. We must be ready to face such a situation by having a contingency plan. Otherwise, we'll draw attention from the rest of the world. We have to remember that we only have 48 hours to respond once it happens.
Are you saying that if it happens, there's nothing anyone can do?
Can't you treat everyone? Wait, this is someone else?
Can't you treat everyone within 48 hours?
That'll be impossible. We don't even have a cure, and the research center is incapable of taking in all the villagers.
How frightening to realize such a disease actually exists. The world is full of mysteries.
Constant vigilance against worst-case scenarios supports our national defense and is one of the ideas behind the Alphabet Project. Besides, our goal is not to use the plan, but it's vital to be prepared.
Indeed, precisely as you'd say. I'd still like to look into strengthening the rules of approval authority behind applying the plan, but I understand the necessity to prepare a response for a worst-case scenario.
Let's have the urban suppression research team run a simulation of the Hinamizawa suppression operation in the region. I think we should get it going as soon as possible. It's possible that the Queen Carrier girl may be hit by a car and killed at any moment. Oh, fuck. Motherfucker, why?
Thank you, Major Takano. We have further questions, so you can sit down.
Thanks to a push from one of my backers, things were decided without too much of a problem. It took me almost all day to explain it to them, but it only took such a short time to come to a decision. Nobody criticized, ridiculed, or tried to reject my grandfather's articles out of hand. The files they're all reading today are the same shameful articles those haughty authorities left their footprints on as they trampled them on my grandfather's heart. But they aren't ridiculing the articles. They're reading what was once rejected. It's nothing big at a glance, but in this moment, my grandfather's research is being recognized for the first time. My heart is filled with satisfaction to see people discussing amongst each other while pointing to my grandfather's files and raising them as proof. I worked so hard for this day. Grandpa in heaven, can you see this?
Thanks to a push to one of my backers. Strangest Kickstarter stretch goal. Yeah.
Higurashi! No! No! Bad Kickstarter! Bad!
Alright, what else is Queen Carrier? And already got those.
We have the draft of an emergency.
this one? Nope, not yet.
No.
Still missing something.
Stop breaking our fragments.
Rika and Satoko. Shinto priest. Is that the Shinto priest contacting the Ivan Institute? Is
There you
that?
go, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
The gathering place inside the Furude Shrine is in fact the headquarters of the Onogufuchi Guardians. Normally a shrine would be a calm and quiet place, but there are anti-dam signs everywhere, making it very obvious what this location has become. There are over 30 members of the Guardians here at the moment, and they're having a heated conversation about their plans for the future. Although this meeting place is on the Furude family's property, it is a community facility, so it closes at 9 p.m. Of course, sometimes the discussion gets so heated that it goes past closing time. but meetings are supposed to end by 9. If a discussion ends early, they usually chit-chat until that time. That's what usually happens. Of course, they mostly talk about the dam even when they chit-chat. They talk about someone's mistreatment at the government's office or someone getting arrested unjustly, or complain that people at the dam construction site are too violent. Since it's idle chatter, the topics are slightly emotional. Because of that, there's a good deal of bad-mouthing the Hojos.
Then she threw the circulation notes away. Can you believe that?
Bitchy in-village art discussions.
Mm-hmm.
That woman is crazy! Just the other day, she got into a huge argument with Makino-san's grandmother at the trash pickup.
You know the husband is rude too. He's so irrational.
Did you see him at the at the explanatory meeting? That was bad, huh? I can't believe they're still here. I wish they'd just move. He said something about money. He has absolutely no shame. I'm sorry, I
It's fine.
something appeared in my throat and decided it was time for me to choke.
Yep. You know you got a
Perfect
hairball
timing, to
now.
be
You
honest.
deal with a bunch of cats. So. No. If you
God.
talk about being irrational, his wife is the same or even worse.
And your laughter isn't?
It must be hereditary. I see their daughter shopping quite often, so I used to say hello to her, but she never replied. Can you believe that? So I got tired of it, and I don't say anything to her anymore.
Hey, their son always looks so depressed, doesn't he?
God, I fucking wonder why.
Wow.
You fucking horrible little shits.
You bitches. By now, the Hojo Hojo family has become an enemy of the whole village. Foul-mouthing the Hojo family was the greatest shared topic that anyone could easily contribute to. If he had known how powerful the three families were, especially the Sonozaki family, and he had known Oyo's-san character, he wouldn't have said such things as he did. The Hojo couple of residents here. Though they were never very enthusiastic about the council activities, they should have known what kind of person Oyo-san is. You could have just imagined what would happen to him if you talked to her that way. Yeah, he let his anger take over and voices unpleasant feelings. So most people think the Hojo family brought their isolation among themselves. If they wanted to negotiate with the government regarding the move, they should have done so privately. He was foolish enough to express himself at a public gathering like that. So not too many sympathize with the Hojo family. Ever since the big fight at the explanatory meeting, the Sonozaki family has looked at the Hojo family as their enemy and started to go after them. That caused the other pro-dam families to go quiet, fearing they'd be made into scapegoats too. And those who wanted to leave were bitterly forced to give up. Even those people started criticizing the Hojo couple, saying they could have gotten their compensation to leave if the two hadn't picked that restless fight. Both the anti-dam and pro-dam people hate the Hojos now, and the family has become even more isolated. Moreover, the Hojos are both very aggressive. They should have stayed quiet at least until things settled down, but they didn't. That alienated the handful of people who took pity on them as well, so now nobody even says anything to them. All of that was immediately obvious by listening to the people complaining about them. Here at this gathering place. Rika always helps out by putting the teacups away, so I'm sure she hears about what they say as well. One of the Hojo family members, their bow-mouthing is Rika's friend, Satoko-chan. Hard to think about what Rika feels when hearing that. As priest of the Furude Shrine, should I let this continue? Oyashiro-sama is a god who makes peace between enemies. When the humans and demons fought, Oyashiro-sama descended from the heavens and mediated between both sides. As a caretaker of the shrine, I must do something before it goes too far. I'm sitting next to Oyo-san, who is spitefully disparaging the Hojo family.
Oreo.
Oreo?
Yeah, this is Oreo.
Okay. So that ass was talking shit to me. Who the hell cares? He'll be cursed by Oroshio-sama, that's for sure. Other people cheer her on as they listen to her speak. If I barge in now, I have a feeling it won't be as peaceful a conversation. But I have to make up my mind. As priest of the Furude Shrine. Also for the sake of Rika's friend, Satoko-chan.
Oreo-san, don't you think you've said enough by now?
The dad is now Kasai?
Yeah, he's excited.
Oh,
now.
is it? Wait, is this old
It's
man
his dad.
Kate?
It's Rika's dad.
Oreo-san, don't you think you've said enough by now?
Huh? What the hell are you trying to tell me?
Well, I'm sure Hojo-san really didn't mean what he said. Isn't it a bit much for this kind of treatment to go on for so long?
Shut up! You heard what he said, didn't you? Weren't you pissed? He pissed me off. Shit! Haruya-san is the head of the Sonozaki family, the heir to the demons. She never forgives anyone who stands against her. There's no way she would even listen to what I'm trying to say. Haruya-san and the others became furious and refused to listen to me. I also mentioned that the damn construction plan will be cancelled soon, so they should calm down already. I said that because the staff of the Ivan Clinic told me that the government is putting some kind of pressure on the Ministry of Construction. But thinking that I'm being an opportunist, some criticism of me began to circulate the room. After that, I realized to become branded as a fence sitter. If the demons were willing to listen, there's a chance to make peace. But how can I make peace with people who refuse to listen? I destroyed their mood, so I just have to give up and shut my mouth. But I felt a little hand on my back.
Rika, it's getting late. Why don't you go home?
No matter how hard we try, we can't reach them. Rita looked in the distance while she spoke. The evil of this corrupted village is probably beyond the means of those of us living in that muck. But I won't lose hope. Surely, someone who will destroy the stagnation will arrive. Very soon. I know. An idiot will come.
Oh, idiot!
Her eyes shone as if seeing a future that only the maiden of the Furore Shrine could see.
I mean, her original, loops were 5 years long, right?
Something like that, yeah.
She may
Yeah.
even have already met Keiichi at this point.
True.
Is this one?
Maybe?
Yes.
Yeah. The Hojo family is well known for going against the whole village during the damn conflict. But the husband and wife that were rather aggressive. They fought a fierce battle, especially against the Sonozaki family. Although the whole village treated them coldly, wife and husband didn't really care and kept on fighting. In a way, they were extremely strong-willed people. I'm sure their children had to go through a lot because of them, though. Satoko-chan and Satoshi-kun were treated coldly by the villagers as well. In addition to that, Satoko-chan and her stepfather didn't get along, so their stress levels must have reached their limits. Because I'm the director of the local clinic, a rather respected member of society, people usually tell me a lot of things.
Oops.
So I was aware of something. Of the treatment they were receiving even before I met them. I met Satoshi-kun first. Satoshi-kun came to the clinic because he felt ill from too much stress. He must have thought he had a cold. When I examined him, he even told me that. By hearing his repeated sighs and seeing the exhausted look in his eyes, I knew right away it wasn't just a simple cold. Medication would heal his symptoms, but that'd be only a temporary measure. The only way to truly cure him would be to change his living environment. But that was easier said than done. He was surrounded by tangled and complicated relationships with the village and his family. So just resting for a few days and taking some medication wouldn't do. Time was the only thing that could ease off the cold treatment from the villagers. But we're talking a very, very long time. That's why I felt like I had to be their first ally in this village, so I could rescue them. I couldn't do anything about a stressful environment, but I could try to diminish that anxiety. So I thought the best way was to teach him how to vent in stress. And playing sports is the best way to do that. So I asked him to join the junior baseball team that I coach. As a researcher, I devote most of my time to Hinamizawa Syndrome, but I too need to do something else to relax. I used to play baseball, so I decided to coach the local kids team. After a while, the children in Hinamizawa started their own baseball team, and now I became their coach. Doctors can provide health just by giving medication. You need a sound mind and a sound body. I believe health can be maintained through sports as well. But our team needed more people, so I thought of asking Satoshi-kun to join. Being a bookworm, Satoshi-kun wasn't interested in playing sports. He wasn't sure how joining a baseball team would help his situation. I didn't need to go on and on about athletic medicine to explain why sports help people become healthy. I just wanted him to experience it himself, to realize how great it feels to play sports. I think he realized it gradually. He was reluctant until the very end, but he attended all of the team activities and games. As I saw Satoshi-kun slowly regaining his liveliness, I realized my plan worked. However, as Satoshi-kun was under that much stress, then Satoshi-chan, after the same family climate, must have felt the same way. Unfortunately, I didn't think of her back then. So when Satoko-chan was carried into my clinic as a patient, I regretted doing nothing about her even while knowing this situation. As Satoshi-kun recovered under my guidance, Satoko-chan was left alone in her stressful environment. Also around that time, there was an incident bad enough to make Satoko-chan collapse. That was, of course, her parents' deaths. The day when Watanagashi Festival had a very uncomfortable time for the Hojo family, because although it was a village festival, it was also a day to celebrate victory for the dam construction project. It's understandable that they would plan a family trip around that time, so that they could relieve the village. Stoko-chan's parents fell off a cliff at the park while they were visiting. Happened on such an unlucky day. Because it happened on the day of Otanagashi, people said it was the curse of Oyashiro-sama. People labeled the Hojo family as one that was cursed by Oyashiro-sama. The parents were given the cold shoulder by everyone in the village. So with the parents gone, Satoshi and Satoko should have been freed from that, but unfortunately, the accident happened on the day of Otanagashi. That's why the members of the Hojo family continued to be shunned. Satoko-chan was the only one who was at the site of the accident. Satoshi-kun didn't go on the trip because he had an event with the baseball team. Therefore, the police mainly interrogated her. The detective, ACAB, suspected an act of organized crime by the village, so with Satoshi-chan as the only witness on site, he drilled her with questions. There was a stress to Satoshi-kun, perhaps even more so. Of course she couldn't take it. During the interrogation, she began to wheeze and gasp for air. The anguished look I saw on Satoko's face when she was carried into the clinic was very, very tragic. It broke my heart just to imagine what she had to go through. Good boy!
Coach, is Satoko okay? Yes, don't worry. She's a bit confused, but only temporarily. That's all. Temporarily. That's a difficult word to say with Ivan's voice. May I see her? She finally fell asleep, so I'd rather not wake her up just yet. Let's just let her rest for a while. Maybe it's a good idea to have her stay here for a few days too. Don't worry, I'll take good care of her. Thank you.
Aww, Bean.
Oh, the good boy. The good bean.
What a good boy.
I know
You-
Satoshi-kun is a
Hmm?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I need to see him with, like, fucking golden retriever ears like fucking Rudy from Log Horizon.
Yeah. Yes. I know Satoshi-kun is a golden retriever, but also he is a great, big brother who truly cares about his sister. He empathizes deeply with her. In other words, Satoshi-kun's worries and stress were reflecting Sadako-chan herself. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but while Satoshi-kun was, of course, sad about his parents' deaths, he may, at the same time, have been a little relieved that they were gone. His sister wouldn't have to be driven into a corner anymore. Like Satoshi-kun, Sadako-chan didn't have the social skills to get along with her stepfather. So, putting her mother aside, I was certain that losing her father, the greatest cause of her stress in her life, would bring great change to her home environment. But I couldn't believe what happened next. The two were sent to live in an even worse environment with her aunt and uncle. Though at the time I was rather optimistic, thinking that this new environment would be better for the siblings. Fuck you, aunt and uncle!
Fuck! The fucking worst.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
Abrupt stop.
Yeah.
Uh,
Rock candy is a treat. Do we have her
Mhm.
detailed
We
test
No, not
result?
yet.
I don't
No.
Nope.
think so.
Okay, okay. Nope, nope. Nope. Nope.
He said on the a red cap. I don't
Don't
think we
think
have a
so.
red capsule.
Yeah, not
No,
yet.
no, no revenge yet. The urchin. Game board. No.
Kakashi chapter?
Well,
the
these
first
ones are all
one.
named a fragment of something.
Wafnagashi.
Yeah, I think these we don't need. You can't do any of them.
I feel like
Yeah.
there's gotta be
Go back to page
Somehow.
1, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There we go. Blaine, would you like to narrate for a little
I
bit?
can do that. Okay. Satoshi-kun is a good brother who takes great care of his sister. He went to visit Satoko-chan straight after school and kept encouraging her to get better every day. Without even hearing Satoshi-kun's stories, it's obvious to me that Satoko-chan never had a good relationship with her step-parents. She especially didn't get along with her stepfather. Satoko-chan even called a child abuse hotline once. Not only that, her parents ended up dying in an accident, so she just wasn't able to withstand all that damage. Satoko-chan is still very young, so everything must have been horrible for her to go through. Fortunately, she has a wonderful brother. Emotional wounds are hard to heal, but nothing heals those wounds better than love from family members. I'm sure that one day Satoko-chan will be able to smile again. She's still in shock, but when she talks to Satoshi-kun, she smiles a little bit. ACAB from the police department keeps requesting to see her, but I think I need to protect her for just a little longer. While he's passionate about his job, I wish he'd be a touch more sensitive. If he reminds her of her parents' accident, her emotional wounds will start to open again. That's the one point I worry about with Satoko-chan. I heard someone knocking on the door. It was Takano-san. It was Kirby-san. It doesn't look right wearing a nurse's uniform like that. She's a licensed doctor, so she should wear a white coat and act like one. Maybe this is fun for her, but I think she might be insulting the real nurses. I didn't say anything, though. Dr. Ivan, may I talk to you?
Oh yes. Well, Satoshi-kun, if you'll excuse me. Sure.
Hello, Satoshi-kun. Please keep Sadako-chan company. She's always alone, so I bet she's lonely. Okay? Oh no, that's not true! Okay, Satoshi-kun, you're in charge. I got up and let damn it. Where's my... There we go. I got up and let Satoshi-kun take over.
Did something happen?
Not right here. Let's go to your office. Takano smiled meaningfully. Usually smiles bring happy feelings, but when it comes to Creepy-san, that's rarely the case.
Are you sure?
Yes. The initial test results show there's a possibility she's at level 3 or above. We need to keep her here and run some more tests. The results aren't in yet, but from what I can see, it's very possible that she's at L4. Creepy's eyes sparkled in a weird way. There's a reason for that. For us, finding patients in the terminal stage is a valuable boon to our research. In fact, as a result of dissecting the murder suspect from last year, we've made great progress in our research. In other words, we finally managed to isolate the pathogen. We also discovered that when the host dies, the pathogen melts away within a few hours. Once that happens, it's undetectable. That's why we never found the pathogen when we performed autopsies. Our research made a lot of progress after that. What we found in the past year has easily surpassed what the late Dr. Takano found in decades. We're now studying the nature, the effect, and the symptoms of the pathogen, as well as treatments and vaccines. In other words, a living specimen who's at the terminal stage is a necessity for our research. However, we rarely find a patient who's gone that far, who's reached L5. Hinamizawa Syndrome once created huge numbers of L5 patients, but today it doesn't have such potency. Because of that, we have to secure L5 patients or patients who are close to reaching L5 as quickly as possible. Satoko-chan possibly qualifies to be that next sacrifice. To keep this strange disease a secret, we can't let patients who may be at L5 go. We have to run more tests first. Then we'll figure out what to do next. In any case, Satoko-chan seems so calm. Her behavior is nothing like the man from last year. Initial tests are in error sometimes. We'll have to wait for the results of more detailed tests to determine how serious her condition is.
Okay. Let's admit her for observation. Please let the staff know to get things ready.
That sounds like a formal answer, but if the results come back positive, that will be the green light for her dissection. I don't know Satoko-chan that well, but I've known her brother, Satoshi-kun, through the baseball team for a long time. How could I dissect the apple of Satoshi-kun's eyes? I can feel scary.
That's a weird way to
Yeah,
describe that.
you're right. I can feel scary images flashing in my head for the first time. Don't worry. Everything is already taken care of. She smiled as if telling me that the dissection is already being prepared for, too. Is it just her who's smiling? Am I smiling like her, too? When I dissected that man last year, I did feel guilt beforehand. But once I started, it was like I was in paradise. All the pieces of the puzzle that were left by the late Dr. Takano fell into place, and at the same time, they didn't. How exciting it was. Knowing that we are the first ones to take the first steps to solve a mystery, that is. I don't even know how to explain this feeling to those who have never experienced it. There's no way to describe it with words. The only thing I can say is that even a year later, I still remember it vividly. So if the results show that Satoshi-kun's beloved sister is to be dissected, can I control myself? Can I stay calm? But that means I'm a failure of a human being. I know very well that the Hojo family was treated poorly by the villagers, and I know what Satoko-chan had to go through. Also, I know Satoshi-kun loves his sister, who is one and only blood relative. How can I dissect Satoko-chan using my research as an excuse? I didn't feel much guilt for the man from last year, but I feel unbearable guilt towards Satoko-chan. That means what I did last year was very sinful. I don't care if a stranger dies, but I don't want Satoko-chan to die. That's not right. All lives are equally precious. I tried to convince myself that he was a violent murderer, but maybe he only became that way because he was at the terminal stage. I don't know anything about him before he became deranged. Maybe he was a model citizen who was worthy of respect. Unfortunately, he became ill and ended up doing what he did. Maybe he was a victim himself, just like my father. I know more about Hinamizawa Syndrome than anybody, This disease makes people act in bizarre ways, without those people realizing it. So when the people at the terminal stage do such strange and violent things, one should be sympathetic. I already knew that back when I decided to go down this path. I should have remembered it sooner, but I only did just now. I finally realized what sinful research I'm working on. Satoko Hojo's detailed test results came back. The results say L5.
Oh, fuck.
So at the terminal stage of terminal stage.
Oh.
It's actually a surprising result. In last year's case, the patient was extremely deranged. According to Creepy-san's research, he complained about itching coming from the lymph nodes all over his body and wanted to claw at his throat, just as late Dr. Takano mentioned. But Satoko-chan isn't displaying such symptoms. Even in the late Takano's data, throat clawing is said to be a characteristic symptom of terminal stage patients. However, not all patients experience that symptom. Besides, emotional expression is very different in each person. Even if it's the same emotion, one patient may express it rather violently and another may express it calmly. There's no way of knowing just by looking at a person. But Satoko-chan's detailed test results say that she's at the terminal stage of the terminal stage, L5. In other words, she may be feeling what the man from last year was feeling. It's just that she isn't expressing that feeling in the same way as the man was. Hinamizawa Syndrome affects the frontal lobes of the brain. It stimulates the most primitive of emotions, doubt, very strongly. As a result, terminal patients are trapped into delusions of paranoia and end up committing horrible crimes. Satoko-chan seems to show improvement when she's exchanging friendly words with Satoshi-kun, but there's a paranoia stirring inside her that may put her at a deranged stage at any moment. I can't let her leave the clinic like this. However, if things go according to the manual, I will have to make a decision on her dissection. My decision will only be a formality. I can't actually refuse. Creepy-san appears to be already working on the dissection schedule. That plan will then come to me. Would I feel the same way while dissecting Satoko-chan? Would I be able to experience that trance once again? No, the question is, can I fight the temptation? As I pretend to question myself, I'm letting Creepy-san prepare things on her own. By doing so, am I passively agreeing to Satoko-chan's dissection? If possible, I want to save Satoko-chan. I don't want her to be sacrificed for this research. I don't want to dissect her. Then what about the man from last year? Do I only care about the lives of the people I know? If I don't dissect her, do I let her live and leave the clinic? Do I simply wait for her to become deranged and commit a horrible crime? And then she'll end up here, just like the man from last year, and I'll end up dissecting her anyway. The man from last year was dissected alive and kept that way for several months. With his skull left open, he wasn't allowed to die for several months. He was kept alive just for her cruel experiments. I don't want to do that to her. I don't know what to do. Even debating and agonizing over it is leading towards consent to her dissection by elimination. Damn.
So he's insane. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like we already knew this, but like more confirmation. Oh, we have our detailed test results now.
That one?
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah, this one we should, because they dissect the L5 guy in a previous one. And we got help from the Queen Carrier. Urede-san, thank you for waiting. We just finished the last test. She'll be back soon.
I think this is the dad.
I hope she's able to help. Of course. Rika-san will help the whole village. I think we'll be able to come up with a treatment soon. We're still looking into the structure, but we're finding out how important Rika-san is to the villagers. People with more serious conditions can't stabilize themselves, but we found out that if they get close to the Queen Carrier, they generate some kind of substance in their brain. This substance has a calming effect, and it seems to have the power to bring their symptoms down. If we can produce this substance, it'll end up making for powerful treatment. I see. Rika has that kind of power.
You shouldn't be surprised. People say that maidens of the Furude Shrine have the psychic power to calm down souls and calm both souls and demons, don't they? Even before we discovered it, it was already recorded in the history of the last few hundred years.
It's true. I'm impressed with how wise people were back then.
Meep. The tests are all done.
Rika, good work. You must be getting tired. Why don't you take this and go get something to drink?
Meep. They took a lot of my blood, so I need to replenish.
Rika took the 100 yen coin that was offered to her and ran out in the hallway.
I appreciate Rika-san's help. If she hadn't offered her assistance, our research wouldn't have progressed this far. Rika is very concerned about her friend with the syndrome. She said she wants to help because of her. Doctor, please take Rika's feelings into account. Of course. We're taking up a precious time every Sunday, so we'll make sure to get to the bottom of this. We may have to put her through some rather rough experiments, but I hope you'll understand.
We'll never harm her in any way, though. She's such an important person. She's the reincarnation of Oishiro-sama, after all.
I wonder how people back then found out about this syndrome, and how they knew the Furaday family were the descendants of the queen. I'm truly impressed. By the way, there's something I have to ask you. I would like to ask you for permission to collect her cerebrospinal fluid. Also, there's a chance that we'll have to drill a hole in her skull to examine the inside of her head.
What?
A hole in her skull?
Yeah, huh?
Of course. We'll take every precaution. Rika-san is the one and only queen carrier. We'll make sure that she's safe. Her safety is our priority.
Can't guarantee that.
Yeah. Of course, since Rika-chan is a girl, we won't shave her entire head. However, we'll have to ask her to stay at the clinic a little longer so we can keep our eyes on her.
She can still receive visitors, of course. You're more than welcome to attend the examination. I'm sure she'll be more relaxed to have someone she knows nearby. Do you really need to perform this examination? Is it really safe? I can't absolutely guarantee her safety for either collecting cerebrospinal fluid or it's really hard to say some of these words in
Yeah, it
Ivan's
really
accent,
is.
or for drilling a hole in her skull. There's always the off chance something might go wrong. Also, Rika-san may suffer from some physical and emotional discomfort. Even if it's this important, we can't perform it without the parents' consent.
Actually, I've already talked to Rika-chan about it.
What did she say?
She said that it's fine.
I've explained to her the possibility of danger, but we still need your consent. Sometimes Rika truly believes that she's the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. So maybe she feels obligated to sacrifice herself for the villagers. What an impressive child. Could you please let me talk to my wife? She understands the situation, but I still need to explain it to her. Sure, of course. Please talk it over with her. So this examination is an extremely important step in the process of stamping out the syndrome, right? Yes, it will solve the mysteries of Hinamizawa Syndrome for sure.
At least it'll be the first step.
As I already explained, if something happens to the Queen Carrier, the whole community here may be in danger. In other words, it's possible the whole village could end up with terminal symptoms. I think this is Takano. I don't know.
The mouth didn't move, so I was.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. That's right. According to studies, within 48 hours of the death of the queen carrier, everyone with the disease will become dangerously sick. We must prevent that from happening no matter what.
If something happens to Rika, the whole village will go insane. Yes, it's our job to prevent it. It might seem ironic that we have to put your daughter in danger, but this is the only way to stamp out the syndrome. Dr. Ivan, I hope you'll succeed in that examination. As I said, there are no guarantees in medicine.
Sure. Oh, right. Ivan answered with a nod, interrupting Creepy's vague response.
I will succeed. I'll save Rika and the villagers too. I promise. Okay, I'll talk to my wife. I'll let you know our decision. Yes, thank you.
After Rika and her father left, Creepy started to laugh.
What is it? What's so funny?
Oh, nothing. I just thought it was amusing to get permission from both the patient and her parents beforehand.
Rika-chan is going through something she doesn't have to. I thought I should as a courtesy. I would have gotten consent from the man last year had he been in a normal condition.
Are you becoming tormented with guilt ever since you started your research here?
What do you mean?
This type of teasing was normal from Creepy, but maybe she had gone a little too far. Ivan made it clear how displeased he was to hear that. You can only research Hinamizawa Syndrome by using living beings. You feel guilty continuing your work because of that.
Those guilty feelings are a necessity. Whether it's a murder or a dissection, the fact that you're taking someone's life is the same. We have to accept that. And at the same time, devote ourselves to our research.
That's an extremely impressive theory you have there. Then, Dr. Ivan, how many times have you gotten consent before you cut into people's brains? Ivan didn't think Creepy knew about that. How many brains have you cut up without consent, using your selfish theory that people commit crimes due to mental disorders as your excuse?
That is...
Common sense changes with time. Back then, doctors didn't need to explain anything or get consent beforehand. So I don't think you have to be concerned about the past. It'd be a problem now, but it was okay back then. So that's fine. But you feel guilty, and that's why you want to get consent from Rika-chan beforehand, and why you wanted to get it from him, right?
That's not true. In the first place, the treatment and dissection are...
Listen, boy. What you want is a stamp of forgiveness known as prior consent, right? What you want is some stamp of forgiveness, some deception to fill your heart so you can atone for your past sins. If you regretted what you've done, then you'd never get involved with brains again. Yet you're dragging regrets behind as you continue to deal with brains, guilty all the while. If you truly acknowledged your actions as a sin, then you would have refused to accept the appointment as director. Isn't that right, boy?
I don't need to listen to this. Excuse me.
You must listen. The field of medicine is constantly won in battles against this era's ethics and social values. When Dr. Takano discovered the existence of the syndrome, the people in power at the time just disregarded their own ignorance and scoffed at his foresight. But he didn't stop researching until he collapsed. He believed that someday he'd be acknowledged. Even if it was after he died, he still believed in it. He could do that only because of how strong his conviction was. If it wasn't for that, he would have given up. A strong will is what keeps research going. Only the most determined can achieve a result. But you don't have that. You're a coward who still can't decide if he should be proud or ashamed of his achievements. How could you accept the position of director with such half-hearted determination? You knew from the beginning that this research couldn't be brought to fruition without adding further blood to your already stained hands.
I don't know what to say. Maybe I am half-hearted.
Then why don't you resign? You'll still have the obligation to keep things secret, but at least you won't have to feel guilty anymore. You may be my partner, but you're also simply a person who was requested by my client. Now that this research institute is fully developed, you aren't needed. If you don't even have the necessary determination to do research to begin with, you're an especially useless partner. I'll never quit researching. I'm not afraid of guilt or regret. My conviction is what will take me to the future. Just like Dr. Takano succeeded, I'll succeed alone.
That's impressive. However, though my determination may not come close to yours, I too have a will. And that's why I'm here. As you said, I already have blood on my hands. After I arrived in Hinamizawa, they just got even bloodier. So I can't just run from my responsibilities. I'll probably continue to be tormented by my unatoned sins, but I won't run. I'll get to the bottom of Hinamizawa Syndrome. That's the least I can do for all the people who gave their lives for this research, and also for those who will give their lives from now on.
I have a more determined look on his face. He appeared different from even a moment before, when he was baffled by Creepy for having brought up those painful memories. For a short while, Ivan's eyes displayed a strong will, and then he turned around.
We'll probably get consent for Rika-chan's examination, so please start preparing for it.
Yes, I understand, Director. They got their consent the following week. Damn.
Well then. Ivan's such a weird character.
Right.
Hands.
No.
Maybe this one? Yeah.
Nope, not yet.
No,
No,
fuck.
we don't.
Prior consent, there we go.
The lights came on in the meeting room as the slideshow ended, and all the auditors began to applaud, praising the Ivan Institute's dramatic accomplishments.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. To be honest with you, I wasn't expecting too much from this Hinamizawa Syndrome research. I figured that even if there was progress, it would be 3 steps forward and 2 steps back every decade.
Oh my! How impressive it is to achieve so much in such a short period of time! This is all thanks to you, Dr. Ivan. Oh no. This is all because of the staff that supported me. And Creepy-san too.
Don't be so humble. Director Ivan is a genius in the field of neurology. After all, he's also produced greater achievements than any other doctor when it comes to the brain.
That's true. Not many doctors as young as you have nearly as much experience operating on brains. And not getting consent.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Colonel Ivan. Now I can go back to Tokyo with my head held high. Both of them.
Are you fucking kidding?
I don't know what to tell you.
Uh,
I'm honored we gave you something good to take back with you, Hot-san. By the way, could you please stop calling me Lieutenant Colonel? I just can't get used to it. I almost prefer Risa-san at this point. I bet you do, huh?
oh my god. You sure are a huge help. You're the one who secured funding for our research even when we couldn't produce feasible results. We couldn't have done this without you.
It wasn't any trouble. But really, the results you've presented today are just brilliant. Not only have you found the cause of the syndrome, you've also provided a clear path towards future research. We're looking forward to hearing more progress when we come again next time. I'm sure the Tokyo office will quit bothering us about cutting your budget with these sorts of results.
After all, we nearly lost our budget for the canned coffee we provided to you all, didn't we?
Oh my god.
Random person, I think.
Hot-san, make sure you give our progress to Tokyo well enough that they give us enough funding to hold a party.
We've been getting nothing but the stick. It's time for the carrot. We'll be happiest if that carrot comes back in the shape of funding.
And with that congenial atmosphere, our routine audit was over. Ivan was surrounded and being questioned by National Institute of Infectious Diseases workers who had joined the auditors.
Creepy-san, congratulations. I can't really say this out loud, but all the progress I've seen tonight is thanks to your hard work.
Thank you, Hot-san. Hot-san and I are the only ones here who know that strings were pulled in order to create the Ivan Institute. So only Hot-san can understand what I had to go through. But I've only just risen to the stage for my research. My opponent and I are finally in the same arena, that's all. The critical fight comes after this. And it should be getting even more exciting in the future.
By the way, Manager Nakagawa told me to tell you that he wants you to hold a presentation in Tokyo. Even the Alphabet Board wants you to come meet with them. I guess they all want to hear this directly from you.
Oh my. Ara, isn't having you explain enough?
No!
A delightful new treat. A free ara.
I mean, it fits.
It does.
Sadly.
I don't think that's what they mean. I bet they want to meet such pretty researcher in person, maybe.
Ara, aren't you just being silly, Hot-san?
Excuse me, Major Creepy, there's a phone call for you from Tokyo.
Thank you for holding. This is creepy.
What? Hey, how you doing?
Oh,
Oh.
Koizumi-sensei! Thank you for taking time to call me.
I heard you made a significant breakthrough, Creepy-chan, so I had to call to congratulate you. I don't remember what this guy's voice sounded
It
like.
was something
so this
like
is what
that.
I
It was
get
like a little
now.
bit gangster. Like, thank you
I
very
guess.
much. Yes, thanks to your support, we've been able to accomplish the first step of identifying the microbe that causes Hinamizawa Syndrome.
Mm-hmm. I see. Great job, Creepy-chan. I'm sure Takano-kun is very happy in heaven right now.
That's a little too early to say. My grandfather was attempting to go beyond merely identifying the cause of the syndrome. His work was about showing the possibility of human thoughts actually being controlled by parasitic agents in our bodies. Only when that is proven will his research be recognized for the great achievement it is. When we're able to explain all thoughts and religions with parasites, the world is going to be tossed into chaos.
How interesting. I can just imagine how those religious big shots will react once they find out that their leaders are parasites. How interesting! I would love to see that. I won't die until you show that to me, Creepy-chan.
Please don't say that. Do look forward to it, though. I'll make sure that this research will spread shock throughout the world. Then the whole world will finally realize how great my grandfather was, and they'll be fighting each other to read over the documents he left behind. Only then can I say that I've repaid my debt to him.
I'm a little envious of Takano-kun. I don't want money, you know. I don't mind getting rid of half of what I have. I just wish I had a grandchild who would carry on my legacy.
Thank you so much. Those words mean so much to me.
By the way, I sent you a present. It's a nice bottle of wine for you to celebrate with. I didn't know your address, so I sent it to the clinic. However, they told me they're having a difficult time importing it, so it may take a little while. But when it comes, please have a party with the people who helped you.
Celebratory wine? Well then, I wonder what expensive sort of drink Koizumi-sensei is sending us.
Oh, it's not that kind of expensive. Don't you remember, Mio-chan? Takano-kun used to keep a particular bottle of wine.
I remember. That's right, my grandfather kept a certain bottle of wine. I don't know if he bought it himself or if someone gave it to him, but he treasured it, and he always said he'd open it when his research finally gained recognition. I was a child then, so I don't even remember what brand it was, but Mr. Koizumi would know. He went through all the trouble to find the same bottle of wine for this special occasion. For the first time in a while, Creepy felt the same sunny warmth you experienced during her time with her grandfather. Thank you very much, Uncle Koizumi.
I like it when you call me that, Creepy-chan. I don't feel like you're speaking to me when you say... I don't feel like you're speaking to me when you say Koizumi-sensei.
I can't but help but smile along with him, because I think Hot and Ivan were just having a similar exchange. If you like it that way, then I'll be happy to call you that when there's nobody around.
That sounds kind of dirty. I'll be happier if you'd call me that even in front of people.
I don't know exactly how old he is, but if he can laugh so energetically, he'll live for many more years to come. I guess the saying about living a long life is true after all.
Takano-kun and I both wished you were truly part of our family. We really did.
My grandfather had his own family, of course. But because he was so into his research, he became estranged from his wife. They were legally married, but they lived separately. I never met his family when I was a child. I only met them after my grandfather committed suicide. During his latter years, my grandfather went into psychological despair and began to look at his life with cynicism. His condition became worse over time, and he was shocked at his own dementia. He was afraid of living with it while his consciousness degraded. So, he jumped off the rooftop of the hospital. Only my name was in his suicide note. None of his family members' names were in it. That's when all his relatives showed up and took everything my grandfather left behind. They were afraid I was going to get his estate. They had lawyers and all that, so I backed down. I asked for everything in his study in return. Those idiots don't understand the value of my grandfather's research. They were actually happy to strike a deal out of court, and they could also get rid of the piles of papers and jars with human organs in them. They never even showed up once when he was alive, yet, like hyenas, they appeared after his death. I'd never let them put their hands all over my grandfather's research. Fortunately, I was able to protect my grandfather's soul from their tainted hands.
Okay, I'll get going here. If there's anything you need, be sure to call Uncle Koizumi, okay? I'll do anything for my granddaughter.
Thank you, Uncle Koizumi. I'll work even harder.
That's almost sweet, I guess. I don't know.
Eh,
It's hard to read what her relationships are like with anybody, really.
true.
Very true.
I can't tell how sincere any of that actually was.
Mm-hmm. No. I don't think. I don't think.
No.
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 I'm curious whether any of these. No.
No. Well, I think the first one is the Himatsubushi Onikakushi. Wait, can we see the Onikakushi one? What are the requirements for it? Top right?
Wait, what? Top right?
Game mode must be set up. Okay.
Yeah,
Not
it's
the
all.
game
Is there anything
board
more
yet.
here?
Yeah, we have not
Seven.
seen a game.
Wait, 7 fragments are required, so we got that.
Wait, can we see it then?
No? Okay.
No, no.
Maybe not.
I guess it must be
Interesting.
I guess
7
that one
fragments
must be
all on
the 7
game board?
fragments for the other.
Yeah, it's
For the other ones.
Wait.
Oh, yep.
No,
we got that
we
one.
already did this one though because it was blue, right?
No,
Oh,
but this
yeah,
was
so
one of the ones that was broken, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
Because I don't remember seeing this at
Okay.
all. I gotta step away for a sec. Be right
Okay.
back.
A group of boys are playing baseball under the powerful sun. The sound of cicadas makes the heat stand out even more, but to those boys, it's just another kind of cheering from the crowds. Of course, they go through the training exercises to build stamina, but the boys don't actually like such routine activities. What they look forward to the most is free game after practice. The school in Hinamizawa is actually borrowed from the forestry service. The schoolyard is made of gravel, so it's not very appropriate for playing sports on. Compared to that, the grounds of the school in Okonomiya are properly maintained for athletic activities, so the kids grow even more energetic when they come here. Kids from Hinamizawa really don't care if the ground is made of gravel or not. The other instructor is watching the game, so I decided to go get some drinks for the team. Oh no, we can't have even David do the
Coach,
bean.
Where are you going?
I thought I'd get some drinks for everyone. I can't do that fucking accent. Shit. Hold on. Okay,
I
wait,
love
no.
it so much
Let's take a quick break. I'm gonna grab some more. I'm out of water, so I'm gonna refill my water. This is gonna be the break. Give us a moment, chat. Hydrate before you dehydrate. Hydrating is good.
Hi.
Welcome back. We went on a hydrate break.
Oh, dope. Okay.
Mostly because, like, I tried to do Ivan's voice. I couldn't do it.
I mean, we can give him a different voice.
No,
No.
it's not the same.
That's Ivan! It's Ivan! You
Okay.
ruin Ivan.
Alright. He's been through like 3 different voices during our
Nah.
different stages of annoyance
Not
with him.
anymore. Now he's just fucking Ivan.
Now he's Ivan.
Ivan.
Alright. Coach, where are you going? I thought I'd go get some drinks for everyone. Did I miss anything?
Not really.
No,
Just
this is
basically you went to
mainly-
get drinks for everybody for the, and also how like kids from Hinamizawa don't care whether they play on gravel or not, because they don't have like, they don't have grounds for stuff since it's a forestry service and not an actual school.
Right. Do you mind helping me, Satoshi? Oh no, not at all.
Satoshi-kun decided to come along with me. Sometimes kids don't like what grown-ups choose, so I'm glad he agreed to help. Satoshi-kun and I got in the car and headed to the grocery store nearby.
Manager, how is Satoko doing? Well, she's doing fine. Although it's an extremely slow process, her emotional wounds are healing. I think we should let her rest for a little longer.
It's natural for Satoshi-kun to be worried. Stoko-chan has been in the hospital for over 2 weeks.
Ooh.
Yeah. Of course, he doesn't know his sister has Hinamizawa Syndrome. Not only that, she's almost at L5. She could become deranged at any moment. He believes she's depressed because of the shock of their parents' accident. He came to the clinic every day to cheer his sister up. But Stoko-chan has become emotionally unstable and was showing some dangerous symptoms, so he called off the visits.
Oh,
In fact,
that's so sad.
yeah. In fact, Satoko-chan is not doing so well. L5, the stage Satoko-chan is at, is a very abnormal one. The man from last year who was at the same stage was acting so abnormal that even a drug addict in his final stages would have turned and ran. There's no guarantee Satoko-chan won't fall into the same condition. When we performed the autopsy of that man last year, we learned the true identity of the syndrome and gained a great understanding of its mechanisms. We even discovered some important facts that may lead to the development of a cure. However, we have yet to find a method of actually curing the disease. So if Satoko-chan becomes unrecoverable, we may have to dissect her just like we did the man from last year. How can I tell Satoshi-kun about his sister's situation? All I can do is make vague comments and lie to him that she's recovering. What if she becomes much worse? That would make me an unforgivable liar. The tiny bit of conscience that remains in me hurts.
If it's okay with your clinic, can she stay there a little longer? Why are you saying that?
I thought he wanted her to come home as soon as possible, so I'm a little surprised.
Well, actually, Satoko doesn't get along with our aunt. I heard she didn't get along with her parents, but she can't get along with your aunt or uncle either. Satoko doesn't open up to grown-ups.
Satoshi-kun has told me all about their family background. Their mother's constant remarriages wounded her children deeply. Satoshi-kun was able to overcome it, but Stoko-chan was too young to be able to do that. That left her traumatized, and now she has the tendency to distrust or dislike guardians who aren't related to her. Actually, nobody would like a guardian who isn't related to them. It's not just Satoko-chan, but usually people try to deal with that, even if they don't like it. I guess Satoko-chan's not capable of that.
Our uncle isn't home much. Besides, even when he is, he's either sleeping or watching TV, so he's not the problem. But our aunt really goes after Satoko. Why doesn't she like her?
I can guess why. Satoko-chan's parents were dam proponents, and because of that, the villagers considered the aunt and uncle part of the Hojo family and ostracized them as such. Moreover, they passed away suddenly in an accident and left 2 children behind, so I guess there would be more hate there than gratitude. If she'd been obedient like Satoshi-kun, everything would have been fine. Satoko-chan can't be that way. She shows that in her attitude and expressions, which leads to her and her aunt having a big fight.
I've told my aunt about Satoko's situation, but she just can't understand. I think you're a great big brother, Satoshi-kun. You're the one and only relative Satoko-chan has left now. Right. I feel that way too.
Satoshi-kun said with a slight hint of a sigh. He doesn't say it, but it seems Satoshi-kun has grown tired of having to cover for Satoko-chan every time she and her aunt fight. He's a good person, as well as a good big brother, so I'm sure he'll do anything to cover for his sister. But that's a very exhausting thing to keep doing forever. Satoshi-kun was always doing that when their parents were alive. And eventually, his mental equilibrium couldn't handle the strain. He grew sick, and he visited my clinic. I thought his circumstances might have improved after the initial cause. His parents were gone. But it seems things were even worse than before.
I understand. I can't release Satoko-chan if things are like that. Her symptoms may return again. Don't worry about the hospital fees. I'll make sure Satoko-chan truly recovers.
While trying to pretend I'm listening to his request, I feel a little disgusted at myself for making such selfish excuses. I'll make sure? Creepy-san is working on our dissection plan as we speak.
If that's possible, that'll help me too. Nani? I mean, if Satoko stays in the clinic a little while longer, then I can relax as well. That's all. What do you mean? As soon as Satoko comes back, I know she'll get into fights with my aunt again. Then it's back to those days of constant fighting and screaming again, and I'll probably get dragged into it too. So if Satoko were hospitalized for a very long time, that would be easiest on me. But when I think like that, I hate myself. Satoshi-kun.
Satoshi-kun is a great big brother who always sticks up for his little sister. But that doesn't mean he doesn't feel burdened.
To think things like that. What a terrible big brother I am. The more I think that way, the more I hate myself.
Satoshi-kun said, sniffling once. His expression was one of anguish, as if truly feeling his own sin. His desire to be a model big brother is putting himself under great pressure. I feel bad for Satoko-chan, but I also feel bad for Satoshi-kun in a different way. As someone who knows the both of them well, I feel that I must be their ally, since they don't have anyone else who cares for them.
Okay, Satoshi's awareness of his sins. We just had a thing for that, right?
Yeah, but it had a thing about Rena, but...
Oh, footsteps following him. Oh, and Rena's... What?
Oh, it does work. Oh, I guess maybe because...
We do Rena.
It might have just been from, like, the previous arcs?
Maybe?
I
I
can't.
don't know.
Really?
Oh,
Some of these requirements confuse me.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
My harsh and brutal days are still continuing without end. The situation between my aunt and Satoko remains the same. My aunt yells at Satoko for no reason every night. Although Satoko cries, she still talks back to her. So my aunt's yelling goes on and on forever. Satoko's crying goes on and on too. When Satoko sees me, she grabs onto me. She hides behind my back and tries to ignore my aunt's yelling. She always comes to seek my help. Satoko doesn't open up to anyone but me. So if I don't protect her, she'll be devastated. That security is something our parents didn't grant to Satoko. I have to be the one to provide it. But every day, day after day, every time Satoko cries, every day, day after day, Satoko grabbed onto me while crying yesterday. I patted her head, but along with pity, a different emotion came to me. I wanted to grasp her head and smash her head against the wall. What an unbelievably devilish and awful emotion. No. I can't think about that. No, it's not that I can't think about it. I just can't acknowledge that feeling. Since that day, there has been something else inside of me. That someone is trying to eat me up from the inside and switch places with me. When Satoko begs for my help while crying, that person tries to make me spill out some awful and hateful words that are sure to damage Satoko forever. Leave me alone. Don't grab onto me. Go away. No. I can't. To prevent him from taking over my body, I clenched my stomach and drove him out. I managed to do that. But that wasn't it. That person is coming after me, trying to get back inside of me. I won't let such a scary thing get back inside of me. He knows there's no room to slip into my heart as long as I keep it held shut like this. So he stopped trying, and instead is following right behind me. He's waiting for me to let my guard down. When I walk, he walks right behind me.
Oh, no.
He's breathing down my neck. He follows me everywhere, and when I lie down, he stares down at me. He's waiting for the right moment to jump back inside of me so he can hurt Satoko. It's been so hot lately. Maybe the heat is getting to me, and that's why I'm thinking things like this. I'm the only family Satoko has, so I'll have to protect her from my aunt for the rest of my life. That's my eternal duty. The rest of my life? Forever? Do I really have to do that forever? If only Satoko... But I'm her only family. But it's because of my aunt. But it's because of the villagers, too. It's almost Watanagashi.
Oh.
Some irresponsible people are saying that the curse will once again fall upon Hinamizawa. They're also saying it'll fall upon me and Satoko for sure. Maybe it's just my imagination, but lately the villagers expecting it are giving me especially sharp looks. I feel like I'll be killed on the day of Watanagashi. Of course, there's no reason why I would be killed. It's just my imagination. Oh, slap. Don't come inside of me. Satoko's my only sister in my family. Don't. I heard that. Shut your whore mouth, David.
I'm so sorry.
You're not. Every time, David.
Choko's my only sister in my family, so don't tell me those awful things. Slap. Don't come this way. Footsteps came up right behind me, and the hand touched me on the shoulder.
Oh, Rena.
Are you okay? Are you?
Man, it feels like we haven't heard fucking Rena in forever.
Listen, my characters don't get to have a lot of fun nowadays.
Rika's been around a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Let me say meep like every 5
Fair.
lines.
I must have been acting weird. Rena looked worried. Her name is Rena Ryugu. She just moved here and transferred to my school. Nobody remembers her, but supposedly she lived here in Hinamizawa a long time ago. In fact, she hardly remembers anything about Hinamizawa either. Since Mion is the only other classmate who is my age, I'm glad she's my friend. She usually carries on happily alongside Mion, but occasionally she shows more feminine consideration.
Are you feeling okay? Do you want me to take you to the nurse's office? Do you?
Thank you. I'm okay. Do I look sick or something?
Yep.
Her immediate answer made me realize I wasn't myself.
Is it about Satoko-chan? Are you worried?
No, that isn't it.
She knows that my problem isn't physical, but a mental one. This is just something I think to myself, but even though Rena seems like a very easygoing person, maybe she's more perceptive than she appears.
Since I just transferred here recently, I may not be able to help much, but I can at least listen. Sometimes talking can help.
Although she just transferred, she already knows quite a bit about me and my sister, and also about the situation with the villagers. But talking about it won't solve anything. Actually, if I talk about it, I feel like I'd be admitting to my weakness, which might give that person a chance to get inside of me again.
You were so surprised just now. That's why I thought something really serious was bothering you. Oh.
Oh, that. Lately, I feel like someone is following me all the time. Slap, 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 slap. I thought that was you. Sorry, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
Footsteps? Following you?
Huh?
I know those. I know those footsteps.
Wow.
Dun dun
Dun,
dun.
dun, dun.
I got one of these. Oh. Okay.
We don't have the death of the Furidays yet.
Not yet.
Ryuka's move is required.
That? No.
Fourth year?
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't. I don't think we have the fourth year yet, right?
Yeah,
Fourth year
no.
would be
You're right.
the aunt and uncle.
Yeah, fourth year completion of the medicine, death of Koizumi, no. Results of research, Shirakawa Park.
Think?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
You know,
I mean, if we keep trying these, we'll find the one that's,
eventually.
Yeah.
is it on the first page? Have we looked on page 1 yet?
No, third
Third year?
third year was the parents, right? No,
No, I think third year was
the aunt.
maybe.
It has to be, I guess. No death of the aunt yet.
No.
We don't. Yeah, we don't have his dissection plan being discontinued yet.
No death yet.
His aunt hasn't died.
You're just breaking all the fragments at this
I'm
point.
sorry.
It's okay.
Wait,
Already did the first one.
We've looked
did
at
we
this
do
one, I
this
think.
one?
Yeah, it was blue.
No.
Yeah, it had the blue outline.
No, but I think that so did the one that we just did that said that it was broken.
Plans for her dissection are moving right along.
Wrong.
I don't remember this.
I don't want Satoshi-kun to be sad. I feel pity for Toko-chan in her harsh circumstances. I'm still struggling with how much I have to sacrifice for the sake of research.
Ivan?
Oh? Sorry. What is it, Rika-chan?
One of my friends has been in the clinic for a long time. Do you think she has Hinamizawa Syndrome?
Okay, this sounds new.
This is new.
Yeah.
What told you that?
No one. I just thought about it. So what do you think, Ivan? Does Satoko have Hinamizawa Syndrome?
Rika-chan is on our side. There's nothing I have to hide from her. Actually, I probably shouldn't keep anything from her.
Yes. The problems with her parents and then their sudden deaths was all too much for her to bear. Maybe that was what triggered it.
What did the test results say?
L5. She looks perfectly fine on the surface, but her emotions are extremely unstable. Since the other day, she's even been refusing to meet with Satoshi-kun.
Satoshi told me. It's weird that it's taken a very long time for Satoko to get better. Ivan, what will happen to Satoko?
Satoko-chan is Rika's best friend. How can I tell her that we're planning to dissect Satoko-chan? However, even if I don't say anything, she already knows that Satoko-chan's situation is extremely poor.
Didn't you find a lot of things when you examined me?
Sure, of course. Or even testing medicine which might be able to control the symptoms.
Did you give that medicine to Satoko?
I thought about it, but it's too dangerous. We're still in the trial stages and trying to gather more data. We can't use it on someone who's in a delicate situation like Satoko-chan.
Then, if you won't try the medicine, what will happen to Satoko?
She spoke as if aware of our plans for Satoko-chan. No, she must actually know. I've told her about most of my research. She's more mature than she looks, so it'd be easy for her to figure out.
If there's even a 1% chance of Satoko getting better, then I think we should take that chance.
It's extremely risky. Worst case, she could immediately display terminal symptoms and hallucinate, or potentially lose her consciousness and spend the rest of her life just staring blankly at the wall. Either one would be something, 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 something.
Alright.
Too cruelly fate for her.
So, are you saying it's better to have her die in her sleep? Ivan, just like Creepy says, there's no guarantee in medicine. If we don't do anything, Satoko will die for sure. I think it's clear what we should do.
That's true. You're right.
But I know too well. C-103, the medicine that's being tested, may not even be something that can be used. It may not even have a 1% chance of success. Worse, I can't even imagine what kind of tragic end she'd meet if her body rejects the medicine. That's why I'm tempted to believe it would be far more merciful to feed her favorite food, let her gently fall asleep, and after that dissect her while she dreams. I don't want to admit it, but Creepy-san is right. I'm being indecisive and showing a lack of resolve. How effective could the medicine made by someone like that really be? So because it was the medicine I created myself, I couldn't even believe there might be a 0.1% chance of success.
I think we can believe in it.
She spoke as if she read my mind. Surprised, I raised my head up to look at her and found her giving me a reassuring look I never would have imagined someone her age capable of.
People's lives depend on your job. It's almost absurd that a human being can control life and death like that. I can't even imagine the pressure.
Her voice hadn't changed, but I feel like Rika-chan is admonishing me. Almost as if she knows what it's like to be responsible for human lives.
Guilt and regret are a part of that. That's why you can't use the medicine on Satoko. Isn't that right?
Gripa-san said the same thing when she criticized me earlier. I'm being criticized again.
But that's why I can trust you with Satoko.
Nani?
Human lives are precious. You understand that very well. That's why you do what you do. Without knowing that, how could you heal people? Do you think I trust medicine created by Creepy, who thinks humans are just her guinea pigs?
I shouldn't have laughed, but I couldn't help it. I felt like I should laugh.
If both you and Creepy produce different medicine, I think yours would be the one to cure her. Because your medicine came from your heart. Your will to heal people is what cures them.
You're absolutely right. I can't believe you're admonishing me about medicine.
Let you use my body for Satoko. Everything you took out from me is for her. If he created that medicine with the knowledge of how precious human lives are, then of course it'll work on Satoko.
Do shrine maidens take confessions? If they do, she's doing a great job being a shrine maiden at this age.
This will be a gamble. The question is whether Sakotoko-chan will accept it.
We don't need to tell her. Learning of the Hinamizawa Syndrome only dredged up the deep scar on her heart again.
What did she mean by those words? When I realized it later, I was surprised by how thoughtful and perceptive she was.
Let's stop the plans for dissection.
Let's stop the plans for the dissection. We're going to give Hojo Satoko C103. I'll do my best to increase the chance by even 1%.
Don't worry, Ivan. It'll work.
You shouldn't be so optimistic.
I know it'll work. It's already decided.
That's a very reassuring prophecy from the foot of the shrine maiden.
You can do it. Yeah. Star.
It's been a long time since we saw
Gamate!
Star.
Gambate!
This is lay heavy. Hey, Rance Priest,
This
welcome.
isn't that heavy.
This entire game is heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think we have some other. That's. There's something about C103 in other places.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
There you
there
go.
is.
There you go. C103's implementation on Satoko is going well so far. It wouldn't make any difference to me if the experiment failed. However, Ivan's extraordinary focus and attention to the experiment has avoided Satoko Hojo hallucinating or turning into a vegetable during the experiment. And surprisingly, we see prospects of her returning to normal life despite reaching L5. C103 still has many issues, but this experiment proved that even a person who has reached L5 can be cured. I didn't believe in it at first, but I guess I have to acknowledge Ivan's hard work. Only Ivan could have done this. He was tormented by a naive humanism and didn't want to make mistakes, and that is why he felt obligated to cure Satoko Hojo. The reason why I dislike Ivan isn't because of his achievements or abilities, but because of that weakness. But this time I had to praise him for it. I saw your report. I must tip my hat to you.
No, I only did my job as a researcher. If that means fulfilling my duty as a doctor as well, then nothing could please me more.
It's hardly an exaggeration to say that Satoko is now our most valuable specimen. After all, she's the first human to reach L5 and live.
That's true. We'll let her go back to her normal life and keep our eyes on her. I'm going to tell her to come here every Sunday for a checkup.
But how are you going to explain to her that she has to give herself a C103 shot 3 times a day, and also that she has to come by here every Sunday? She has no subjective symptoms.
I'm still trying to come up with a good excuse. I think I'm going to tell her that I want her to help me with my research. She has to give herself shots daily and to come here every Sunday for a checkup. I'll pay her for helping me, or something like that.
I guess Ivan is determined to cure Satoko Hojo no matter what. He seems determined to keep her off the dissection table. He and I are in different positions, but I don't have any complaints about his naive ideals so long as they translate directly into passion for research. If his plans can be put into effect and produce a different result than the dissection would, then they'll still be useful useful to the overall understanding of the Hinamizawa Syndrome. I have nothing against Satoko Hojo. It's only that I see her as a research specimen. If she can be useful in that capacity without being dissected, that's perfectly fine with me.
We have to get permission from her guardian to give her shots 3 times a day. After her parents died, her aunt and uncle have been taking care of her, right? Maybe I'll go talk to them. I hope they agree to her involvement in such suspicious research.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure they'll be happy to, once they realize they'll receive 100,000 to 200,000 yen every month for it.
Do we have enough money?
Sure, as long as we can produce documents that'll convince Hatsan.
Okay, I'll work on that. Also, we'll need to take action to prevent stressing Satoko-chan. We don't want her to return to L5. I hear her aunt and uncle are very mercenary. Perhaps we can handle them with cash. I plan to provide my help with their guidance, too.
I've heard Satoko-chan isn't getting along with her aunt and uncle. I never thought that'd affect us in any way. But now, Ivan has to deal with them. Maybe he's developed some kind of sense of responsibility or duty as her guardian. I don't really care. The more responsible he feels, the more progress our research makes. That'll be a plus for me.
By the way, I saw the report on H170.
Oh, compared to your success, it's nothing. But I guess it was some kind of accomplishment.
It's honestly ironic. The same research center that's produced the remedy to save her from derangement has developed a dangerous drug that could instantly induce it.
Ivan wasn't involved in the H170 research. That was my work. In fact, even if I asked him, he wouldn't have agreed to be involved. This dangerous region was developed during the process of uncovering the mechanisms behind how the pathogens controlling Satoko Hojo's brain could induce derangement of paranoia in their host. To put it bluntly, injecting H170 into a patient with Hinamizawa Syndrome forced them to express terminal symptoms. It threw the brain into a simulated state of agitation, intentionally forcing the pathogen to grow unstable. If we continue researching this, it'll be possible to drive anyone with Hinamizawa Syndrome violently insane at any time. Studying the mechanism behind that will help to solve the syndrome's mysteries. So this study on H170 will be extremely important to future research. Also, this medicine has some military applications, as the client requested. At this point, there's absolutely no use for it. But once our research progresses a bit further, this H170 could be spread at the right moment to cause a certain type of reaction. Compared to a killer virus, it seems like a useless pathogen. But there's no way to detect it in a dead body, and it makes it look as though the person just went insane spontaneously, so it must have some useful applications. The Marco Polo Bridge incident threatened to end the research on Hinamizawa Syndrome before. A historically important incident like that couldn't have been created by a killer virus. But it's possible with Hinamizawa Syndrome. The Elders of the Alphabet Project, the sponsor for our research, can think whatever they want about that. I don't care how they use what I've learned. My purpose is to solve the mysteries of Hinamizawa Syndrome, and to make people realize how important this research is. Also to make people acknowledge my grandfather's accomplishments and achievements. Any military applications were just byproducts of the process that I didn't care about.
The clients will appreciate your accomplishment. Maybe our budget will increase for the next term.
Passion alone can't keep research going. We need money.
We must thank the sponsor for giving us so much funding. For this much money to come from public expenses, maybe Japan is richer than I thought.
They're public expenses, but they're expenses that can't be made public. Ivan has no idea what I had to go through to get that money. Anyway, our research is going extremely well. We don't know what we'll find out about Hinamizawa Syndrome, but I'm sure every mystery will eventually be solved. I can hardly wait. What the syndrome indicates is that humans are simply empty containers, and what we believe to be our will is simply the actions of parasites that live in our brains. If that mystery was solved, it would have a greater impact than anything else in history. That is the truth which nobody wants to believe. This is an achievement my grandfather predicted back during his time. Ah, I know now. I know the reason why my grandfather was so fascinated by his work. Hmm. No, not yet.
No.
You're just trying to break all the fragments now, aren't you?
Basically.
Death of his aunt hasn't happened yet.
Sadly.
I think we have. Go to the next
Here
one.
we go. Wait, do we already do this one?
Yeah, this is an L5 station.
Oh, yeah, this
Yeah,
is...
we've done this.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's skip through it. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Go faster. Oh, God.
Blah, creepiness.
Blah,
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 blah, blah, blah.
more
Okay.
creepiness.
Oh, okay. Maybe? No, not yet.
Nope.
No, we don't have the Shirakawa Park. What do we got? That's.
Yeah,
I
there we
think
go.
Oh, there we are.
Stoko-chan's dissection plan has been scrubbed, and we are getting ready to administer an almost totally untested medicine, CU-103. This experimental medicine suppresses the production of a certain type of hormone, and in doing so, it will stop the transmission of the syndrome triggering in Stoko-chan's condition. The mechanism of Hinamizawa Syndrome is as follows. The pathogen takes over the frontal lobe of the patient's brain, and then induces increased responsiveness to paranoia. As a result, a patient voluntarily carries out excessively defensive behaviors to a problematic extent. If this induction can be cut off, then it'll be possible to save terminal patients from becoming deranged. But it only cuts off an induction, so it's not really a cure. Ironically, the brain is an organ that learns. Once the brain has learned to be excessively paranoid due to the Hinamizawa Syndrome, even after the pathogen is eliminated, the brain doesn't simply unlearn that paranoia. In short, even if the pathogen doesn't induce derangement, the patient will be directed to such emotions of their own volition. Thus, it is impossible to completely escape the nearly deranged L5 state. The proverb, "A burnt child dreads the fire," is a good example of this. That's a proverb. Even after the burn on your tongue heals, the fear of being burned by food again remains. When it ends up being a good thing, we call it learning a lesson, and we call it trauma when it doesn't. We predict Stoko-chan's treatment will take a significantly long time, requiring both medication, such as administering psychotropics, and mental care like counseling. We have to slowly unravel her mind's solidified paranoia, while also suppressing the syndrome's induction of derangement. This is the treatment plan for terminal patients like Stoko-chan. However, as we are going to stimulate the parts of her brain that affect her emotions while they are being stimulated by the pathogen at the same time, it's possible there could be unexpected side effects. Both her mental and physical strength hold the key to our success. We were going to begin the experiment once she regains her emotional stability and physical strength, but someone who threatens to disturb her emotional stability has been coming here every day. ACAT, the sly old detective from the Okonomiya Police Department. He thinks everything from the dam protest to the dismemberment murder of the construction manager is an organized effort secretly conducted by the three families of the village. He even thinks the accident involving Stoko-chan's parents wasn't an accident. That's why he keeps coming back so he can talk to Stoko-chan.
No matter how many times you come, I won't let you see her. She's still crippled by the shock of her parents' deaths. Can't you understand what she's been going through? I understand. I only need a few minutes with her, really. Won't take long at all. I want me to get a warrant, I will. That's pretty serious, you know? I'm being considerate of Hojo-san. That's why I haven't gotten a warrant. What are you trying to ask her anyway? I don't really understand. Well, actually, it's possible that the fall was not an accident. I know the Hojo family were hated by the whole village after the business with the dam, but who would actually follow them on that trip and push them off? Don't you think that's absurd? Well, we could call it an accident, but if that was the case, there are some things which just don't make sense. Why lie? With those lies, I don't think it was an accident. What lies? Well, Satoko Hojo said she was asleep in the car at the time of the accident. I think that story sounds a little off, doesn't it?
Stoko-chan claims she was asleep in the back seat when the accident took place, so she didn't get out of the car or the viewing platform. When she woke up, she didn't see her parents. Then she found out they had fallen off the cliff.
Where is the lie exactly? You aren't saying Satoko wasn't really asleep and she went over to the viewing platform with her parents, are you? That's right. Satoko Hojo-san was never asleep. She got out of the car with her parents and went to the viewing platform.
I'm suddenly hit by a terrible possibility. If what Akep says is true, and Stoko-chan is saying she didn't go to the viewing platform even though she actually did, it's terrible to even imagine.
She killed her parents. Why are you saying such a thing? Besides, why would Satoko-chan lie? That's just it. There's a lot of me talking to myself tonight.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, friend, thanks for the raid. Welcome,
Oh,
raiders.
wow.
Hi, Panda Sweet. How you doing?
Hello.
How was your stream? What were you doing? Hold on. Voila. Hope all's good. Yeah, we're at the finale. We're getting close to the end. We're going through all the fragments of memory of the past to get everything going and finding the good ending. Usual Sunday night Overwatch stuff. Nice. Good. Glad it was good. Yeah, welcome Raiders. Hi, I'm Flint. I'm a musician. I stream roleplay, Dungeons and Dragons, and this stuff. And now we are going through the final arc of Higurashi, so if you don't want spoilers, if you're going to play this, feel free to step out. I understand. Completely understand. But there will be a lot of spoilers here. So yeah, we're just acting through. And David has to talk to himself a lot.
Itself.
I sure do.
Have fun!
That's just it. Why would Satoko Hojo-san lie? That's why I need to talk to her. Otherwise, this won't end as just a simple accident.
Know the feeling of getting near the end of things, one session away from finishing Persona 5 Royal? Oh, nice!
Ooh, very nice.
Hell yeah. I have not played Royal. I heard it's good, though.
Royal is quite good. It's a very good expansion onto Odd P5.
That's good.
I've actually played it all the way through 3 times.
Holy shit.
I've put way too much time into that game.
Fair enough.
Why are you convinced that Stoko-chan is lying? This accident took place in a different jurisdiction. The guys from the Shirakawa station conducted the interviews with the parties involved. There are things that bother me in their report. Yeah, there's always a lot to do in P5 in Persona games. Are you on track for the Royal exclusive stuff? Bother you? Like what? According to Stoko Hojo-san's statement, her parents asked her to come with them to the viewing platform, but she was sleepy, so she didn't get out of the car. And she fell asleep and woke up after a while. She became concerned because her parents hadn't come back and started to cry. One of the park workers on patrol noticed her crying and talked to her, and that's how the incident was discovered. And at that time, guess what? According to the park worker's testimony, she was the one who first said her parents had fallen off the cliff. But you see, it's hard to see the accident site in question from where the car was parked. If you look very carefully, you might be able to notice the broken fence. But still, I think it's odd to say your parents had fallen off a cliff just because you didn't see them when you woke up. Normally, most people would say something like their parents went for a walk and didn't come back. It just doesn't make sense to me that she told a stranger that her parents had fallen off a cliff without even being at the scene of the accident. I wanted to ask her why she was so certain that her parents had fallen off a cliff. That's why I keep coming back here. I asked her many times before she was admitted here, but all she said was that she doesn't remember or that she was confused at the time. Sounds like a politician, huh? That's why I think it's worth taking that time to talk to her.
What question did you ask, Fred? David? He stepped away.
Oh.
Oh.
Are you in like the royal exclusive ending? And or on track for the royal stuff?
Into the royal expansion. Basically, I need to do one more trip into Mementos to make sure I fight the ruler of the added palace.
Ah, gotcha.
Nice.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Last palace is kind of fucked though.
Go on.
It's not me.
Did you? Oh, right.
This
Fuck.
I've been narrating.
Oh my god,
now.
I'm an idiot. There was so much talking back and forth.
Well, this is ACAB fucking rambling about how he thinks Satoko murdered her parents.
Yeah. The terrifying possibility had turned to certainty in my head. I'd assumed that her parents' accident triggered her terminal symptoms. But no. Satoko-chan had already gone terminal, and just before the accident, her heart was filled with paranoia that drove her mad. She was under a lot of stress because of her bad relationship with her stepfather. She was also being scolded by her mother for not being able to get along with him. If that made her paranoid, made her think her parents considered her to be a bother and were going to kill her. When they went to the viewing platform, she must have thought they were going to push her off the cliff. Then a tragedy took place and she pushed her parents off instead, although she considered it to have been self-defense. I'm certain of that, because I know Hinamizawa Syndrome better than anybody. This accident isn't an accident. It isn't a crime either, like ACAB is thinking. It is simply a tragedy. When I talked to Satoshi-kun about the family, I was even more convinced. He told me even though Satoko-chan refused to open up to her stepfather, he had tried to communicate with her. It's true their relationship didn't go well in the beginning. Satoko-chan caused her trouble repeatedly and even called the city's child abuse hotline. At that point, they received guidance from the Child Consultation Center, and they pointed out that the problem lay in lack of communication between daughter and stepfather. So the stepfather took a parenting course under the social worker's guidance, and awkward though it was, he made efforts to communicate with her. Satoshi-kun noticed his efforts, so he tried to talk to Satoko-chan about it. But Satoko-chan didn't notice them at all. The excessive stress she was under triggered terminal symptoms, and she couldn't understand her stepfather's remorse. On the contrary, her stepfather's change created even more mistrust within her. As a result, they went to enjoy a beautiful view of the Shirakawa Nature Park as a family, and to share in that joy. Yet that humble, ordinary family's wish couldn't even get through to Satoko-chan. What a tragic misunderstanding. Satoko-chan stayed in the car telling her parents that she wanted to sleep, but then she got out and snuck up behind them. I bet he heard her footsteps. He pretended not to notice her, thinking that she was doing that to surprise him. It's sad just thinking about what must have ran through his mind. While he thought he had finally gotten through to her, she was actually approaching him with the intent to kill. That's not Satoko-chan's true nature. It's a disease. Satoko-chan isn't the only one who is to be pitied. Her parents are its victims too. And now Akep thinks she's a criminal. Judgment and punishment are required for crimes with malicious intent. But what she really needs is understanding and sympathy. And no one has that understanding, except for me, because I know about the Hinamizawa Syndrome. I am the director of the Ivan Institute, but I've never behaved as such or exercised that authority. But I'm going to do so for the first time since taking the position. I'm not doing it as the head of the Ivan Institute, the secret research organization. I'm doing it as a doctor, so I can protect Satoko-chan.
It's about the Hojo family's accident at the Shirakawa Nature Park. Do you think you can ask Okanogi-san from the Mountain Dogs to make it out to be an accident?
Sure, of course, that's no problem. The Mountain Dogs are a unit specialized in concealment and manipulation, after all. We have to put an end to it quickly, otherwise the police will end up getting closer to finding out about our research.
That's right. Please make sure, especially sure Ikap's son is thrown away from this case. We're at the delicate stage of the drug administration test. She doesn't need any more unnecessary stress.
You're absolutely right. I'll let the Mountain Dogs know. I've heard they even have connections within the police, so I'll give the order to put pressure on them too. I'm sure the accident in Shirakawa will be concluded as exactly that within a few days. With that, it was declared an accident. Only if it really was one, it would have eased Satoko-chan's soul. Getting rid of the pathogen can't heal that wounded soul, nor can it erase the tragedy that's already taken place. All I can do is my best, so the day she regains her smile comes sooner. Yeah. Well, that
And
sucks.
now we basically got confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That fucking sucks.
Yikes.
That does fucking suck.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Yeah.
Rika's developed a high fever.
There's
very
another
high
one
fever.
somewhere. Rika having a fever.
Yep.
Yep.
It's not flu season, nor season for any type of contagious disease. I can only think of the suspicious experiments Rika has gone through. Maybe the fever is being caused by those. Her growth is rather slow compared to other children her age. Receiving mysterious shots and going through experiments every week, I'm sure her body is exhausted. I've asked the staff to go easy on her, but Rika herself is fearless and is willing to go through anything. My husband, who should be admonishing her for that, truly believes their story that it's crucial to the lives of over 2,000 villagers, and takes her own daughter to that clinic every week. I'm the only one who's sincerely worried about her health. That's why I want to ask Dr. Ivan to be a little more considerate towards Rika. Anyway, I have to talk to them about taking responsibility for this. Right after I called, a staff member came to pick Rika up to admit her to the clinic. As her guardian, I came with them.
Please, calm down. We'll make sure she'll be okay, so please wait for a while.
How can I calm down? Why did she come down with such a high fever? Isn't this caused by the experiment you performed last week? Rika's just a little girl, you know? She cares about her friends, so she's doing what she can for a sick girl.
I understand. There's no way our research would affect Rika-san negatively. Besides, we're being extremely careful so that something like that won't happen.
Then explain this high fever.
It's probably due to the change in seasons, and...
How could this be a simple cold? This is because of the weird shot you gave her. Dr. Ivan only told me to calm down and refuse to accept responsibility. My husband told me that this is all for the sake of the village, and that's why I've held back my doubts until now. But I'm at my limit. Their existence has been suspicious from the beginning. They're conducting their research in secret using a privacy policy as an excuse. That was shady enough on its own. It's just impossible. In fact, I called the Ministry of Health and was told that it wasn't true at all. Even after I told them I'm Rika Furude's mother. The clinic even came up with stupid excuses, saying normal workers often don't know of a special institute like theirs. That doesn't make sense at all. It's much, much too suspicious. Also, there are people who don't even appear to be researchers working at the institute. They look like security guards, but they seem so different from normal guards at the normal hospital. In fact, one time I accidentally saw that they were armed with guns.
That is, well,
Are they policemen? I don't think so. Who are you all anyway? I refuse to believe you're from the Ministry of Health. Dr. Ivan seems taken aback by my intensity and can't even answer properly. They're still hiding a lot more from us. That tells me the research they're working on with Rika isn't anything proper. Anyway, I'm Rika's guardian. Rika's still a child. It doesn't matter what she says. I won't let her participate in this research anymore. Ada, it's Rika-chan's mother. Hello. Oh, what's the matter? Is everything okay?
well, Rika-chan's mother says she won't let Rika-chan participate in the research any longer.
Why is that? Because she's not your guinea pig! We've never treated her that way. You're misunderstanding us. I'm a little startled. Dr. Ivan is a weak person who backs down under pressure. Creepy-san is different. I'm yelling at her, but she's not afraid at all. On the contrary, she's glaring daggers and looks like she's about to jump me. Rika-chan's fever is caused by a cold. We didn't cause it. When it comes to safety and sanitation, we pay the same level of attention as a national research center. I don't mean to be rude, but considering you walk around while holding Rika-chan's hands without disinfecting yours with alcohol first, we are far more sanitary. We're not talking about that! Anyhow, Rika isn't your toy! She'll never come back here again! You can't decide that by yourself. You and your husband both signed the statement of consent, didn't you? We have been depositing money that's by no means a small amount into your account every single month for cooperation in the research.
Ooh, angry Takano. We've never gotten this face on her.
What? I know nothing about any money. I've never even heard of that before. Rika receiving money for participating in the research really is news to me. Knowing my husband's character, he wouldn't have used it as spending money behind my back. I bet he thought of it as a free service for the villagers, and completely forgot about the money being deposited into her account. There haven't been any strange deposits in the regular account, so it may be in her savings. Anyway, I don't care about that. If you want to breach our contract, we'll have to ask you to return the full... If you want to breach our contract, we'll have to ask you to return the full amount of deposits we've made up until this point. Also, if one party is at fault for the breach of contract...
Creepy-san, please calm down. It's for a day, you two. Just as I explained to you before, we must find a cure for Hinamizawa Syndrome so the villagers can continue to live without worries. For that reason, we need to have Rika-san continue to participate.
Then tell me, when are you going to find a cure? It doesn't make any sense. At first you said this was for Rika's friend Satoko-chan, but Satoko-chan has been released from the clinic and is now carrying on happily. You even told my husband 2 weeks ago that you found a cure already, didn't you?
Yes, I think I told him something like that. But you see, to solve the mysteries of the syndrome...
You didn't mention anything about solving mysteries at the beginning. Rika was to Rika was to my God! I can't. Hold on. Jaw fucking work. Rika was
I believe in you.
Rika was to participate to find a cure for the villagers. So now her job is done. All the research and experiments you've been performing on Rika have nothing to do with the cure. You're doing them out of your own self-interest, aren't I right?
It's not true, it really isn't. Anyway, this matter of Rika-san's cold is just a misunderstanding. If you still don't trust us, then...
That's enough. Since money is involved here, I'll have to discuss it with my husband. Excuse me. They were just too shady from the start. Because of their exaggerated story, Rika and my husband took their side, but it won't work on me. Anyhow, I must settle things with them right away, because Rika isn't their toy. I especially don't trust that woman called Creepy. Dr. Ivan seemed to me like he's still a doctor, but she doesn't. How can I describe her? I guess I can say the glow in her eyes is just unpleasant. She only sees Rika as a guinea pig. I can feel cruelty emitting from her. Neither my husband nor Rika have noticed that. I must protect her. As a mother, I must protect Rika.
That's not like you, Creepy-san. Getting into an argument with her will only make things more complicated. It's so unlike you.
I know. Sorry for losing my cool. Did something happen to put her in a bad mood? Ivan wondered. The heated conversation she just had didn't involve the creepy he knew. Angry face.
Extremely angry.
Angry creepy.
We don't have those.
Huh.
Ooh, there we go.
The situation has changed. Rika's father suddenly changed his mind about having her help out with the research. When Rika came down with a high fever the other day, her mother, who wasn't happy about her daughter helping in the first place, finally blew up. I was hoping the father would convince her somehow, but now he seems to be on her side. Rika's father didn't get emotional like her mother, but he demanded that we make our research plans for Rika clear, and that we finish our research within 3 months at most, which was completely unrealistic. Research can't have a deadline, that's out of the question. We cultivate results by grinding down our knowledge, skills, and time. To take time away from us is like taking away what's vital to live. How could he say such a thing? Curses, 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 curses. Rika's parents are only saying that because they don't know anything about scientific research. However, as they are the parents of the Queen Carrier, we are completely lost about what to do. Tests and experiments on the Queen Carrier are an essential part of our research into Hinamizawa Syndrome. Her existence is the focal point of our work. To lose her would be like losing your sense of direction out in open water. Rika's providing her cooperation with our research, but the withdrawal of her guardian's consent could be a setback. The situation is extremely dire. Rika's parents are only interested in finding a cure, but to me the cure is only a small part of solving the mystery. I can't let her go. Our difference is causing this predicament? And it's not only them, the same is happening between Ivan and me. He thinks it's inevitable that we need to stop the research if Rika's parents refuse to consent. That's understandable. From the beginning, I've never had the determination to solve the mysteries of Hinamizawa Syndrome. He won't back down from the research assertively, but he will passively by agreeing with Rika's parents. Is that the attitude of a researcher who's trying to unravel mysteries? He's the type of man who would step on my grandfather's research with his dirty feet. He is nothing but a coward who's in this half-heartedly. He started to feel guilty over his past the moment he saw blood. He isn't qualified to even be involved in researching Hinamizawa Syndrome. He is simply an outsider who joined in because of the client's demands. If I were a man, he wouldn't be here in the first place. While it's true he produced wonderful results with his development of a cure, he seems to think it's all right to close up shop with that. Is he planning to waste everything by being satisfied with just that tiny result? That man doesn't have any rights to discard it to my grandfather's research. I can feel my guts boiling. No, Ivan isn't the main person at fault. The one to blame here is that woman, Rika's mother. If she wasn't so selfish, this wouldn't have happened. Maybe it's partly my fault. I maintain trust through relationships and obligations all the time. But somehow Rika's mother and I didn't get along, so I didn't try to socialize with her. I thought it was fun because I got along with Rika and her father, but now the mother has influenced the father and changed his decision. What negligence! What a reversal! What a blunder! Ivan is saying we should talk to the office in Tokyo about what to do next. But I know once the Tokyo office finds out about this, they'll order us to shut the research down. I've worked so hard to get things even started. If they hear anything negative, they'll put a stop to it. I've come too far to complete my grandfather's research. I can't let it be stopped. I still have a little time to think about this. I need to calm down and analyze this carefully. I've always come up with a great plan when I drink my favorite tea and bite my nails like this. I looked up at the ceiling and closed my eyes, as tenderly as possible. There were times where I couldn't find a solution, but someone else came up with a simple one. I've been able to overcome everything that's been thrown at me. I even endured the hell of that orphanage, so I will never let that woman get in the way. Settle your thoughts down. Think about this clearly. Be calm, creepy girlfriend. Someone else may come up with a better idea. But who? It's not me. It can't be Ivan. Of course, nobody from the village will do. Do I talk to someone in Tokyo? No, I can't. I don't want to owe anyone any favors. Even Koizumi-sensei would be disgusted if he finds out I can't solve such a simple matter by myself. I know. There's someone I can talk to nearby. They're supposed to be my subordinates after all, so it's worth a try. I called the leader of the mountain dogs Okunogi. The mountain dogs are my subordinates, but they're part of the self-defense force, and I'm just a researcher. So we never really had the chance to interact. He did what he was supposed to, and I did what I was supposed to. So I never even thought about discussing anything with him. But the mountain dogs are there to protect and support our research. Why didn't I think of talking to him before?
What a difficult situation.
He used to speak standard Japanese, but now he has the Hinamizawa accent. I guess fitting into the region is the first thing they needed to do.
We may lose the Queen Carrier.
Oh, no, this is my... yeah. We may lose the Queen Carrier. Not only that, but our mother might end up exposing our secrets. Can you do something about it? Asked Okunogi rather directly. I'm not really expecting an answer, but...
Understood. Mountain dogs will take care of it. Just give us a little time and we'll do a clean job.
Take care of it.
We'll make sure the police won't get involved. We need a little time to prep, but it won't be difficult.
I'm startled. Because Mother is my enemy, but I was thinking about how I could convince her. But the leader of the mountain dogs, the counterintelligence unit whose duty is to protect the secret research, came up with a much simpler plan. Do you mean to kill her?
To preserve the secret, I was told to do whatever is necessary. Of course, we won't do anything until we get an order.
Right. This is a very simple problem to him. Rika's mother has started to interfere with our research. Not only that, there's a slight chance she might talk to people about the Institute, so they will eliminate her. Ah, that sounds like a good idea. Can you do a good job of it?
That's why we're here. This will be our biggest job since the kidnapping of the minister's grandson.
Ah, I remember now. The mountain dogs are the ones who kidnapped the grandson of the Minister of Construction and used that to blackmail him. It has been a few years, so I completely forgot about that. They did such a marvelous job back then. That's right. I have the mountain dogs on my side. Can you get on with it right away?
We could easily kill her, even tonight, but that'd create too much of a fuss. We'll make it look like she disappeared. So give us a little time to make some arrangements.
Just like a cat's eyes under a bright light, I can feel something in the back of my eyes open up. Up until now, I've been racking my brain trying to figure out how to make her my ally, or at least make her surrender or pacify her. Yet, one order to this man, and the problem's easily solved. I feel like a bird taking its first flight. Ah, how easily I can get rid of that annoying mother. All I have to do is give an order. I feel grateful to Koizumi-sensei for giving me such terrific subordinates. What a wonderful power he has given me. I was taught that all people are equal, but if I have the power to control people's lives, then that means I'm more important than they are. What a feeling it is to be above others.
So did you just want Rika Furude's mother to disappear?
Eh? Ah, well, wait a minute. Does he mean only Rika Furude's mother? I can feel chills all over my body. If possible, maybe we should have her father disappear too. Rika's willing to help. She has no other relatives in the Furude family. If both parents die, she has to depend on someone. They have an institute can support her. We can give her status, money, and protection. We can give her everything. By doing so, maybe it's possible to make her one of us, rather than just having her as a helper. All my worries are melting away. Everything I was just concerned about seems like a joke now. I had such powerful subordinates all this time, yet I never realized. All of my tension is being released, and I'm starting to feel relaxed. I can feel myself regaining my cool head. I'm going to get rid of them. Rika's parents, that is. The Queen Carrier is my guinea pig. Guinea pig doesn't need parents. That's right. It's almost time for Watanagashi Festival. If they die on that day, people will call it the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. The murder case from 2 years ago and the accident from last year are two separate incidents. Yet because they happened on the day of Watanagashi, they're being called the curse of Oishiro-sama. Then, if her parents' deaths occur on the year's Watanagashi, it'll be Oishiro-sama's curse 3 years in a row. The miracle of Oishiro-sama. Also the curse. I'm going to create them. This is a chance for me to ascend to godhood and toy with human fate. The incidents that occurred 2 years in a row are said to be a curse, but not everyone believes that. However, it happens 3 years in a row, then everyone has to believe. Because that'll be a true curse that's created by me. I'll become Oishiro-sama. My desire for revenge against God is coming together. Making her merely disappear isn't that fun, is it? When I started to laugh, Okanoki grinned to show his interest. We're going to create the curse of Oishiro-sama. I can't just let her die. She'll be demoned away, and I'm going to enjoy dissecting her alive. Of course, I won't just have fun. This will be extremely useful for our research. After all, she's the previous queen carrier. Mystery is unraveling!
It sure is.
She's already descending into her madness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think I just realized? On the top of the page, when you scroll over something, the title of the fucking thing's up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What you need. I just realized that.
Oh no.
I was like, how are we supposed to know what is required if we don't know the name of the title of it?
Well, the titles don't always correspond to the...
Oh no? Okay.
Creepy-san always comes along with me whenever I go to take pictures on a stroll. She might have discovered the joy of cameras, and I'm happy to gain a friend who shares the same hobby. However, there's actually something else she's much more interested in. That would be the history of Hinamizawa. She frequently visited libraries and local archives to read through various documents and books, and when it comes to Hinamizawa, she's gained quite extensive knowledge on the local history. When she's in a good mood, she tells me about things like how Hinamizawa used to be called Onigafuchi Village, and how the villagers there used to perform various cruel ceremonies based around the worship of Oishiro-sama. It seems she loved tales of violence, and that actually gave her a mysterious charm. On the other hand, I don't do well with grotesque things, so I can hardly say anything in response. Stories of cruel ceremonies that she gets excited about, I really don't get them all that well. However, with the way her eyes light up when she talks, I don't mind spending time with her, even if I have to hear her about cruel things.
You sure like looking into that stuff, don't you?
Sure, it's fun. It's thrilling to unravel a dark past that has been sealed away, don't you think so? Creepy-san smiled in a way that almost made it sound like the dark past is something fun. But of course it isn't. The dark history of Hinamizawa that she loves is something cruel and atrocious, like the witch hunts in the Middle Ages. Besides, they helped me in researching Hinamizawa Syndrome. You don't have to always look through microscopes to research things. Sometimes the traditions of this village that have spent so long with the parasite can teach us things that are far more valuable.
That's true. Boy, you sure are passionate about this.
That's because research gives my life meaning. To step into the unknown and to uncover a secret that nobody else knows. Don't you think that's wonderful? It tickles my intellectual curiosity. That's probably the greatest entertainment available to humans who can feel joy just from thinking. The first person to work on this, Dr. Takano, must have discovered something fascinating enough to make him devote his entire life to the researching of the syndrome too. I think I'm probably the only one who could understand his feelings. I suppose it would be difficult for you, Hot-san, since you're not a researcher. She always seems so enthusiastic every time she talks about the late Dr. Takano, an independent researcher who was the first person to discover the existence of the syndrome. There has to be something more there than just her admiration as a researcher. Come to think of it, Dr. Takano's full name was Hifumi Takano. Creepy-san's full name is Mio Creepy. Creepy Takano. Creepy.
Creepy girlfriend.
Yep. Not only are their last names pronounced the same, but their first names follow a similar pattern. They must be connected somehow. I don't know anything about Takano-san's personal history, but there's a good chance that her name is an alias. So it's very possible she chose a name to reflect the researcher she admires.
I see. So is that why you chose that name?
What?
Well, the name of the researcher you look up to is Hifumi Takano, right? And your name is Mio. In Japanese, it's like you're counting upwards. You're continuing the research he wasn't able to complete. So I thought maybe that's why you have that name. Is this just going to be a chapter of name puns?
I don't know, maybe. Who told you that?
Hmm? No. I just thought of that now. I didn't hear it from anybody.
You're correct. I'm surprised you figured it out since you're so dense.
Rude. I know you admire Dr. Takano, and sometimes you've spoken as if you were his daughter or granddaughter, who inherited his research legitimately. And that's why I said that. Even authors like Ranpo Edogawa use their pen names as homages towards authors they admired as well. So I thought maybe the name you use is like your pen name, you know?
No, that's not so. Creepy Girlfriend is my real name. You write my family name differently, though.
Hmm? Then it really is the exact same family name as Dr. Takano. That's even more of a surprise. And Mio is your real name, too. Mio Takano continuing Hifumi Takano's life's work. What a fateful coincidence.
You're overstating it, Hatsan. This isn't fate of any kind. He's my grandfather.
What?
This is news to me. I heard Takano-san discovered documents about the Hinamizawa Syndrome left by Dr. Takano after his death and decided to continue his research. I've never heard of them being related before. Someone told me it'd leave a bad impression if I asked for money to continue my grandfather's research. That people may think I'm trying to pull funds for a family matter. That's why I changed one of the characters in my last name. So other than Uncle Koizumi, you're the first person I've told this to.
I see. I didn't know. So that's why you're so passionate about all this.
I understand very clearly now. She really did inherit the work her grandfather was unable to complete. My grandfather researched Hinamizawa Syndrome not only from a medical point of view, but through old documents and literature as well. Looking through the old stories of a village that has been living with the syndrome for hundreds of years can be far more valuable than looking through microscopes than magnifying things hundreds of times. My grandfather taught me that.
I see. I'm sure your grandfather is happy that you're finishing the work he couldn't. I bet he's really proud of you.
I hope so. I said something Creepy-san would normally tease me about, but she didn't. She nodded and smiled. There's no mistake. She is indeed the granddaughter of Dr. Takano. My grandfather is Hifumi, which means 1, 2, 3. And I'm Mio, which means 3, 4. Following after my grandfather, we have only counted the 3 together. And counted the 4 after my grandfather, we must reach the 5 that neither me nor my grandfather has seen yet. That is my duty and the reason I was born.
So that's why your name is Mio, huh? I think that's a beautiful name. So if she actually succeeded and reached the 5, would she be Mio Go?
Maybe. Probably.
I think that's how this works.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Thank
So
you.
we're gonna try to not get her to 5.
Please keep the granddaughter issue to yourself. My clients don't even know, and I don't want any unnecessary problems from them finding out about it.
Sure, okay. This is a secret between you and me, huh?
Although it's only a small secret, it feels good to think that I'm the only one who knows about it. I've only counted to 3. I haven't even reached 4 yet. The path before me is long and rough, but I will do it. I'll expose the secrets of Hinamizawa Syndrome.
I'll support you. That's my job in the first place, isn't it?
Jeez, you'd sound pretty cool if you didn't tack on things like that. You only needed to say that you'll support me, you know.
Okay, I'll support you.
It's too late. You're not cool if you can't get it right the first time. We laughed cheerfully together, and after we finished laughing, she became serious again and spoke as if to drive the point home. So remember, Hot-san, don't tell anybody that I'm his granddaughter, okay?
Okay, I promise.
It's not a bad thing, but I don't want the clients to cut our funding because of that.
I don't think they will. Besides, I won't tell a soul.
Are you sure? Are you really, really sure? This research is the entire purpose of my life. My mission is to complete my grandfather's work. To prove that his trampled research is actually something amazing that will shock the world and to make everyone praise my grandfather, who's perishing away under the earth, eventually have him ascend as a god. It's the meaning and purpose of my life. Hot-san, if you say something that creates problems for my research...
Don't worry. I'll forget everything you told me here. Really, I mean it. I won't say anything. I promise, I won't say anything.
Are you sure, Hot-san? I sensed something frightening within her for a moment. Afraid that she would end up possessed by it, I swore to keep the promise. Her intellectual curiosity as a researcher and conviction to complete her grandfather's work are what stirs her passion for researching Hinamizawa Syndrome. I think there's one more reason, but it's far too deep, and it's within a wound in her heart that someone like me should never touch. But earlier, she said, if you create problems for my research, I wonder what she wanted to say after that. I can't help thinking she wanted to say something terrifyingly merciless. I kept my promise with her, and we never talked about the issue again after that. She has tasted blood.
Indeed.
That's her start for the taste of blood, and now she's gonna have more.
I think I can do one more of these, and then I gotta crash for the night.
Okay, sounds good.
I start my new job tomorrow morning.
I think we have
Hey.
this one should work now. It happened so suddenly. Uncle Koizumi passed away. I never heard he was ill or wasn't feeling well. His chest started to hurt suddenly and he couldn't sleep. He called an ambulance for the first time in his life because he didn't think he could endure the pain. He was taken into emergency care, but he didn't live to see morning. It was an acute myocardial infarction. Infarction?
Infarction.
Is it actually infarction?
Infarction.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. But maybe it was the best possible way to go. Instead of being in bed for many years, slowly dilapidating and withering away, he was healthy until his death. So I think he must have lived a wonderful life. But still, it was too sudden. I wish I'd called him Uncle more. It's too late, though. Uncle Koizumi would never smile at me again with his wrinkly old face, no matter how many times I called for him. He was my guardian until now. He always looked after me, making sure my efforts received proper recognition. Maybe he only did that because he couldn't help my grandfather while he was alive. But still, he was an important person to me. He wasn't just my political backing. But I didn't realize that when he was alive. I only thought he was using his power for his own agenda. But after he died, I realized Uncle Koizumi was my grandpa too. He provided the warmth and protection that I longed for from my own grandfather. At his funeral, I shed tears that I thought I forgot how to. Uncle, thank you for everything. I should have called you Uncle more, huh? Oh. No matter how many times I called to him, he would never reply. What I can do for him at this point is to complete my research. I must accomplish my goal for his sake. When my grandfather's research is finally acknowledged, Uncle Koizumi's name will be known once again for being the sole supporter of his endeavor. I believe that's the best way to repay him for everything he's done. I vow to devote myself to my work even more from this day on. But, unfortunately, hardships and sadness tend to come together. It was like the tailwind that blew steadily until today suddenly became a headwind. The winds shifted far too suddenly. So strong, so cold, so sad. What? What are you talking about, Hatsan?
Well, you know that Koizumi-sensei was the main political sponsor for the Ivan Institute, right? He had trouble getting approval from related agencies, but Koizumi-sensei used his political weight to force it through. After all, he was one of the key figures in the post-war restoration, accomplishing tremendous deeds in the medical industry. He held a huge influence in politics and industry.
So now that Koizumi-sensei is gone, the way he did things won't work any longer?
So far, it's only a rumor, so I don't know for sure. But I heard they're going to reconsider the budget allocated for the project.
Are you saying the Ivan Institute will be closed down?
No, I haven't heard anything about them reconsidering the Institute. But since Koizumi-sensei's death, the rumors say that there's a great deal of confusion among the old guard and their factions, as well as the civil strife within the party around finding his successor. It seems the opposing factions are gaining influence in the human resources climate, so they may begin to dig deep into the holy treasure chest that the Koizumi faction held to fund their project. Of course, this is all too complicated for me to explain that well, and besides, these might just be rumors.
Hatsan kept saying they were rumors, but that told me the wind's direction had changed. Or maybe Hatsan already knows everything and is simply trying to warn me about it. And then at our next routine audit, Hatsan made it clear with his own mouth. High-ranking government officials who had never came here before attended the routine audit along with Hatsan. Just by seeing those faces, I can tell the turning point is approaching.
As you know, the Alphabet Project was created to strengthen post-war Japan's presence in the world with the view of developing deterrent weaponry. However, the 21st century is now just around the corner. In this day and age, we must put the past behind us and start looking forward to a new world.
He meant exactly what he said. Japan has already put the past behind, and it's cutting off its ties to the ghosts that wish to resurrect the militaristic might of the pre-war era.
It's been 40 years since the end of the war, and we've contributed to the world in various peaceful ways. We've a strong alliance with the United States, and our nation has established its position in world affairs well enough. We have kept our promise to forever renounce war and nuclear weapons, and we are known as a nation of peace. In this coming century, our presence and influence will grow even larger.
The Alphabet Project, the main sponsor of the Ivan Institute, are a group of people who want to develop a weapon that would act as a deterrent to the nuclear weapons which Japan is forbidden to own. So they've come to the Ivan Institute, one of its branch organizations, to tell us Japan has now renounced nuclear arms. So the Ivan Institute will be facing a strong, cold headwind from now on. The roll of the die that came up with one on that stormy day has reappeared. I won't let the result of a die affect me. A power of my will won't be beaten by some god's roll of the dice.
Therefore, we are going to restructure the Alphabet Project to one that's more suitable for the day and age. This new Alphabet Project will be tasked with figuring out the best way for this country to achieve a larger presence in world affairs. Not through militaristic means, but through peaceful measures like international trade and economic development.
All the people who hold tremendous influence in the politics and economy of Japan were born before the war, so naturally they want to regain the glory of pre-war Japan. The very idea that we can win next time if we research the new bomb that defeated us is itself a specter of the war. No, everyone already realized that. It was just that no one could speak out against the grandstanding elders that they owed their gratitude towards. Soon the old will wither away and the new generation will take control. Uncle Koizumi was, in a way, the last remaining pillar for the old generation. His death is a chance for the new generation to step in. The things they couldn't argue openly are now being discussed. They pointed out that from the beginning, the Alphabet Project was created for the personal satisfaction of a small group of people, and it sucked money out of the treasury. And so the new generation of politicians have taken over from the old.
Therefore, everything the Alphabet Project was sponsoring will have to be re-reviewed. Of course, the Ivan Institute is one of those subsidiaries. We hope that you'll understand and respond amicably. I understand. We can't do research without our sponsors, after all. We'll give you our full cooperation.
Ivan responded appropriately, but he's obviously bewildered. The best equipment and staff are being provided to the Ivan Institute. In other words, our research requires a huge amount of money. For those with no interest in Hinamizawa Syndrome, they probably won't be able to understand why that much money is being put into the research of disgusting parasites. If they're simply going to revise our budget, that would be fine. We were receiving more than enough money. That would naturally be adjusted. It hurts, but we can endure. That's what I thought. But if just enduring it was enough, it wouldn't be a one on the die. So even in that sense, this is definitely a roll of the die coming up as one.
I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
Anyway, the new board of directors was inaugurated back in April, and they've outlined their new policies for all projects. For more details, please look through the papers I'll be handing out.
His papers were then passed around. He started to go over the details, but I read through quickly so I could learn about their stupid decisions first.
The Ivan Institute has made great headway in uncovering the mysteries of Hinamizawa Syndrome, as well as creating a cure for the disease. The board of directors are extremely pleased. We recognize this is due to the unceasing efforts of Director Ivan and all the staff of the Ivan Institute.
Thank you.
Even while we received their congratulations, a tense atmosphere surrounded me and Ivan. It's customary to start the conversation in the opposite way you're planning to take it before delving into your main point to convey. If the main issue is something good, then start with something bad, or vice versa.
The Ivan Institute had two main intentions. One was to study the disease and hopefully find a cure. The other was to research the possibility of utilizing the disease for military applications. The new board of directors has decided to put a stop to the latter immediately. In this day and age, researching biological weapons is an Achilles heel for Japan. The Ivan Institute must cease all related research and destroy any results.
I understand. I will comply.
Ivan replied with that immediately. Ivan was assertive about finding a cure, but was never even remotely interested in researching the disease's use for military purposes. So I'm sure he has no qualms about concurring with such demands. But I don't agree, because our research would be more limited if we were just trying to find a cure. To me, finding that cure is simply a byproduct of my larger goal of discovering everything about that syndrome.
Also, regarding the Ivan Institute, we have decided to have you wrap up your work within the next 3 years. Your budget will decrease gradually as well.
Wait, please. We've only recently figured out anything about the syndrome, and there's more we have to learn in order to create a better cure. We're making progress, but I can't guarantee we'll come up with a complete cure within 3 years.
It is the understanding of the board that the IVA Institute has already completed enough research to develop a cure. The IVA Institute has already completed the C117 vaccine and has a great deal of clinical data.
No, it's not even close to being completed. It's still only a prototype, and we are far from being able to see a cure for all the villagers. Debating the end of our research at this stage can only be described as absolutely positively reckless. Oh.
Oh.
Oh, fuck. Well, never mind. Huh.
Yeah, we were all surprised about that.
Huh. I'm surprised that I haven't objected. Thanks to him, I didn't
Me
have
too.
to say anything. Well, never mind. Just think of all that in a weird accent. If I hadn't objected, I'm sure I would have shrieked in protest.
I mean, you did. I mean, what? In other words, the IVA Institute is not yet capable of curing all the people who are infected or to fully eradicate the syndrome. Is that correct?
Yes, of course, curing all the villagers and eradicating the syndrome will be possible in the future, and that's our ultimate goal. But they need more time and, of course, funding to do that. Our job is to investigate, find a practice that works, and establish it as a product. This isn't a job where you can follow a blueprint to create something with certainty in a set time frame, so we hope that you'll avoid following that misconception.
I guess Evan speaks out when he needs to, and what he's saying is absolutely right. Research isn't something guaranteed to produce results with money and time. But I disagree with some of the things he said. He's objecting about the time and the money, but he's basically agreeing to limit our research only towards finding a cure for Hinamizawa Syndrome. That won't do. We won't unravel any mysteries that way. At that rate, the discovery of the Hinamizawa Syndrome won't be recognized as my grandfather's great achievement.
I see. I think I see your point. Our main purpose here is to dispose of the fact that this research was conducted for military purposes. So we must forever hide the fact that the research was conducted on a strange disease called Hinamizawa Syndrome, as well as hide its existence. If you can eradicate the disease without anyone ever learning about it, then we will give you the time and funding you require. We'll discuss more about that later. Is that acceptable?
Yes, I have no problem with that.
And please submit a plan and budget proposal for eradicating the syndrome in secrecy. We'll do our best on our part to approve your proposal.
Thank you. I'll work on it immediately.
Please don't misunderstand that it is our intention to halt the research immediately. We want to see the best possible outcome for your work. Please understand that.
Yes, of course, I understand.
While I was listening to their conversation, I was struck dumbfounded with something they said. Eradicating the syndrome in secrecy. In other words, it would have been as though Hinamizawa Syndrome never existed. So my grandfather's name will never be revered by anyone. The sound of rustling papers and hushed proceedings filled the meeting room, but I only heard the ticking clock as I clutched my sweating palms.
I think we just found the turning point.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, shit. I'm gonna, save. Let me save. Saved. Okay. Well, that was something. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Yay! We're getting there. We're getting there steadily. We got a lot of the fragments done. We're gonna fucking make it. We're gonna make it. We also actually learned a lot of things that there were still mysteries to unravel. So we learned what happened to we learned what happened to Stoko's parents. We learned what happened to Rika's parents.
Pretty sure we know what happened to Satoko's parents. It's heavily
Heavily
we haven't
implied.
seen Satoko push them off, but you know.
But we saw her paranoid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get there. How are y'all doing for next week?
That should be good for
Good.
next week.
Sweet. Then we will continue next week. Hopefully get closer and closer towards the best possible Japan Hinamizawa 1983 we can possibly get. Thank you both for joining me. Chat, who can I send you to tonight? Let's see. There is decent amount of people going on tonight, so how about... It's been lurking the whole stream. Hey, no problem, Jade Wolf. Glad to have the lurk. You know what? Is this gonna be... What's Scaly doing? Oh, Scaly's on a mission. Nice. So I will send you to Scaly. Why the fuck not? Super good role player. They're on a mission with his Wizard 101 character that he made for Metaverse. I'm not joking.
Love that.
John Beaver Weaver, go follow him. And, otherwise I should be back. Do we have is there Vampire Inquisition tomorrow? I'm trying to remember.
No, but I
No.
think I told everybody that last week,
Oh, okay.
and I did post it in Discord, so
Oh, gotcha.
that's not bad.
Okay.
Uh,
So then, chat, I'll be back on Tuesday for Line Porkin. So until then, send some love to Scaly. Y'all stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. We'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.